Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Anime Talk Show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Anime Talk Show. I'm Dion.
And I'm Chris.
And I got it right this time. Hey.
Hey.
Right, okay. I'm just going to leave that vague so that I could confuse the viewers. But yes, second time round. What do we do on this show? We take a bunch of anime and watch it every week. At the moment, we are currently... I think we're approaching the end of the winter season of anime, but because we started like halfway through, are still catching up, so we're doing multiple episodes a week of different shows. The shows that we are covering at the moment are Toilet Bound Hanako-Kun, Darwin's Game, No Guns Life, and ReZero the Director's Cut. We're watching 2 episodes of each, apart from ReZero, because ReZero Director's Cut is 2 episodes combined into 1. And what we do here is we discuss our opinions on the show and just our general thoughts, whilst I usually ramble on about the plots, then Chris will interject with his opinions, and then I'll respond with mine. And that's about it, really.
I had this information in my head once upon a time. When an anime season ends, does the next one begin straight away? Or is there, like, a gap of, like, less anime?
No, I do believe they start straight away. I've never noticed a noticeable gap. I think at most, if there is a gap, there's usually like a week, but there's no obviously there is a start beginning and end date for the seasons, but it doesn't mean every anime that's starting in the next season is going to start week 1 of that next season.
True.
So the seasons are set when an anime begins and ends is not, because sometimes the end of an anime will bleed over to the next season, and sometimes an anime will begin 2 weeks after the season's begun, etc.
I was just wondering if there'd be a down period where we could catch up in the show, so we could get onto some newer anime, but doesn't really matter in the end.
Possibly. The main thing is depends what shows we decide to watch next. Because with these shows, they're not all going to end at the same time, I don't think, because this week we've gotten to the halfway point of Toilet Bound Hanako-Kun, whereas I'm assuming Darwin's Game and possibly No Guns Life are 24 episode seasons, maybe.
Probably. They seem like the sort.
And ReZero definitely was a 24 episode season, I think, so 12 episodes now because of 2 episodes in 1. If I'm remembering the length correctly.
I think it was originally 24, so I imagine if there's 2 in each one, it'll be 12.
But right, yes. Anything else I need to say before we begin? Yes, this is a long-form podcast and a shit ton of spoilers, so if you're here, we're assuming you've already seen the episodes and just kind of want to hear someone else's opinions on the show. Timestamps are in the description below, so you can skip to specific episodes if you so wish. And like I said, this is a long-form podcast. The last 2 episodes were about not 10 hours. Jesus.
That would be a marathon recording session.
2 hours and 10 minutes is what I meant to say. So if you have things to do, like chores or a long drive, or you just put us on in the background whilst you're playing video games or something, do that. Because if you just sit there and listen to us for 2 hours, well, I mean, I'm not going to complain, but you're insane. And also, goddamn.
You must really like us if you do that.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm not going to complain. Thank you. If our voices are that good to listen to, / our opinions. Hell, even if our opinions aren't that good to listen to, you can always complain in the comments below and all that jazz.
And we'll be sure to get back to every one of you.
Funny enough, we probably will, because we're that small of a channel.
We actually will, because there'll only be one. Max.
And we'll definitely respond to next week's episode anyway, because, well, to be fair, usually we just accept some comments and then move on, acknowledge them, then move on. But if we get a particular size of backlash, like we did with, I'll always refer to it, Code Geass. I at least will probably, make fun of it for some time, depending on what the backlash is.
I'll also probably leave an essay comment responding to someone, as I did last time.
Did you?
I responded to that guy. It was after 4 or 5 episodes of him leaving very long comments. I was like, hey, here's what I said. in a long form. I'm rebutting your points. And then he responded, and I just never responded because it made me very anxious.
I kind of want to see these now. I'm gonna look these up as we go through the episode. But right, okay. So with all that said and done, that's the introduction over. Like I said, go do something else now, unless you're really gonna sit there for 2 hours. In which case, well, thank you. I can't complain. And yeah, so the first show we are covering this week is episodes 5 and 6 of Toilet-Bound Hanako-Kun, and unlike last week, it is not a two-parter.
Yeah, two unrelated stories. One about the confession tree and the 4 o'clock library. In the world's most haunted school.
But yes, okay, so I shall begin my plot summary. We start in Yashiro's dream, where she fantasizes someone confessing to her, and then she imagines Hanako appearing, and she wakes up screaming in class, which I was just like, ooh.
I felt for her. I was like, that would be very embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. You just immediately cut away from it and just hear her go, excuse me. It's just like, oh.
I can't empathise because I've never actually fallen asleep in a lesson, even though sometimes I've wanted to. But I empathise with the embarrassment of doing something wrong in a lesson.
I've definitely fallen asleep in lessons, at least in university, but I never woke up screaming. So thankfully, I've never felt that embarrassment. At least my friends would always make fun of me for falling asleep in those lectures, but I always fell asleep in the lectures that were just dull as shit.
Oh, if I was feeling tired, I just wouldn't turn up most of the time. So maybe that's why I never fell asleep in one. So there's that.
Fair enough. But anyway, yes. The rest of the day, she can't stop thinking about the dream and comes to the conclusion that Hanako must like her and talks to her friend Aoi about it, the one that they rescued from the last 2 episodes.
Very knowledgeable young lady about ghosts. Like, what is it? Is it in the next episode about the 4 o'clock library where they're just like, I don't know anything about the Fifth Wonder, I'll ask her. And she's like, yeah, no, know everything about it. Encyclopedic knowledge about all ghosts.
I feel like she's just the go-to person for anything yokai related in the school. It's like, hey, do you know this legend? Yep. Do you know this legend? Yep.
She knows everything. Very useful for our main character.
I mean, to be fair, they did give us the reasoning 2 episodes ago as well. She was like, I thought you liked scary stories, so I've been learning about them. It's like, oh.
Nice and popular, apparently.
Yeah, it's very popular with the lads. It's just a shame that, the tree turned up gay. But, yes, also, I didn't actually realize at the end of last week's episode 4, that, because I remember Hanako casting a charm on Yashiro, but I didn't realize he'd done it via a kiss. Which, because they bring it up this episode about him kissing her, and I was like, she kissed him? I mean, he kissed her? When? And then he showed it.
I remember, but I just kind of put it down to Hanako being weird, because he does weird, creepy stuff all the time. By creepy, I don't mean like ghost creepy, I mean he's handsy. He likes to touch people. But, yeah, no.
I just genuinely did not notice, because from the way they animated it, unless I blinked at the frame that they showed a kiss, it just looked like he leant over her. But now I know in retrospect, so it's just a random thing I noticed. But yeah, so she tells Aoi about it, and Aoi then tells her about the confession tree, because as we've mentioned, Aoi's just knows everything. Spiritually related. The typical tale of if you confess your love under the tree, then the people who do that will become a couple. And then immediately after that, we see 2 lads rehearsing a confession, because there's this lad that keeps trying to confess to Aoi. Who also has Aoi's name as his last name.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he should have realised what was coming. I mean, I'm happy he found love, But I feel like if you practice underneath the ghost tree, you believe that makes people fall in love with you. I feel like the common sense is that the practice will also be real there. Should have practiced under a different tree.
Yeah, probably. Also, it was just funny to watch as well. Because it was the fact that Aoi and Yashiro were watching them do the rehearsal, and one of them just did not give 2 shits at all. But yeah, so that happens. Then later that day, Hanako asks to meet her by the tree and doesn't explain why, because she mentions, she's like, oh, you mean the confession tree? And he's like, oh, excellent. I don't need to explain it. And just fucks off. And naturally, you know what's coming next. We all know what's coming next.
It doesn't help that her friend had predicted that Hanako... Sorry, this is a point that just like jumped into my head. Who does her friend think she's talking about? Because our main character, who I can always forget the name of, doesn't appear to have that many male friends. So I'm like, who does this girl think is going to profess her love to Yashiro?
I imagine she doesn't have anyone in mind because, like you said, she never says his name. So, but to be fair, it's not exactly an uncommon trope to keep it vague when you're talking about that sort of thing. She probably just thinks Yashiro is embarrassed and doesn't want to say it.
True, but Yashiro has no friends, so I'd be like, who is this mystery man?
To be fair, I am a bit surprised, unless she just hasn't mentioned it yet. But, you know, we've already had an episode post this that I wouldn't be surprised if she'd, like, followed her to the tree to be like, who's there? And then she sees no one, because she can't see Hanako. And be like, the fuck? What's going on?
My friend is just a sad loser who wants to confess her own love at the tree.
Oh, sorry, no. It wouldn't be confessing her love. It would have been practicing turning someone down at the tree.
True. Yeah, and you can put it that way. There you go. She has an out.
But no, yeah, so we all know what's coming next. She goes to meet Hanako at the tree. To be fair, surprisingly, Hanako does profess his love. I was kind of like, the fuck? And then it made more sense because immediately after he was like, you need to say no. And she was like, what?
For a second, I thought it was like all in her head. I was like, oh. Like,
that's what I was thinking.
She's like fantasizing this and we're going to cut back and he's going to be like, what are you doing? But
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
As it turned out, he was just trying to trick the tree spirit. What I wonder, surely all the spirits seem to know each other. They all know which are the wonders. So surely that tree would have known he was the seventh wonder when it got there. It doesn't matter. It works out funny enough.
Maybe the only excuse I have not for it to know him is, was it one of the wonders or was it just a random apparition? I mean, if it was one of the wonders, then it should know him.
The apparitions seem to know about the wonders as well. I mean, not all of them, I guess.
Because the main other apparition I'm thinking of is the Yosei-san, the little bunny things, and obviously they don't really... Well, they do talk once they become the bunny thing. Beforehand, they never seem to know of Hanako, or at least didn't care. But no, the seven wonders definitely know each other. The rules when it comes to the random apparitions, God knows.
It varies, I imagine.
But no, yeah, he gets her to turn him down. The tree spirit's like, this isn't right. I need to help you find your love, and it's a creepy old man as a tree.
He had like a head in the middle of the tree.
Like, at first it kind of reminded me of the Game of Thrones trees, because it just had, like, the eyes and the mouth, and then it turned into just literally just, like, an old man's face on the tree, and I was like, oh, okay. This just got a bit weird. But then, this is anime, so...
It's true, it's all weird. We're talking about a murderous ghost who is confessing his love to a 15, 14, 13-year-old girl in front of a tree that can make people fall for each other.
Who, when gets wet, turns into a fish.
Yes. It's all weird.
By
the way, sorry if I'm a little vague on the details. I did watch these a couple of days ago without notes, so for a second I was like, I seemed a little slow because I was like, what did the tree look like? Remember, Christopher, what did the tree look like?
It is perfectly fine. It's my fault for delaying anyway. I've been too busy / my time management has not been the greatest. This is one of the reasons, ladies and gentlemen, I usually do the plot summaries as well, because I always take notes on just the general plot, and then I get my opinions across as we go.
And I rely on my delicious ad-libbing nature.
Hey, it worked for the first season, and it's worked so far. I shall not complain. But yes, so he tricks the tree comes out, it's like, I need to force you to fall in love, and Hanako swiftly deals with the tree, turning it back into a sapling. What was it called? It was called like a kamado tree, or something like that, I can't remember.
I can't remember.
There's a term for it.
A bonsai, maybe? No. No,
I don't think so.
bonsais are tiny little trees, but I don't think that's what that was.
Yeah. It's like more like a potted plant, those, which require a shit ton of care and attention, as I recall. But yeah, so that happens. They deal with the tree very swiftly, and as Hanako's, being Hanako, is just kind of like, right, what new rumor should we make about the tree? Then, Yashiro, felt bad for her, because goddammit, the animation's too good, and I like the character too much. She burst into literal tears, and for the first time, even Hanako's like, oh shit.
Those were some juicy anime tears. I'm a sucker for a good anime tear, and these were some juicy ones.
Oh yeah, that they had impact, and it helps obviously that we quite like this character from the 5 episodes we've seen her in so far. So I just kind of felt purely bad for her, and even Hanako actually felt purely bad for her. He was like, "Oh shit, I fucked up. Sorry."
He underestimated her feelings about the matter.
Like literally, he was just being his normal self. He was about to prod fun of her for thinking that he was actually going to confess, and then he sees her bawling, and he's like, oh, and like gives her a nice hug and a sincere apology.
Yeah. So it's not often it's not often so far you get a sincere Hanako moment. I mean, I feel like you get a few these couple of episodes.
True. It's not like he's a cunt all the time or anything. I wouldn't even describe him as such. He just jokes around a lot. But he doesn't tend to keep her feelings in mind half the time. That's what just prods fun of them. But yes, so after that little nice moment between the two of them, another day, our 3 main characters on the roof discussing, something. That was it. She was trying to get details about Hanako, because when they were hugging, she was like, I want to learn more about him. So, but she is oddly specific about it. He's like hiding behind Minamoto, being like, she's being creepy. It's like, I just want your age, your weight, the day you died.
I like how she was like trying to like hide. She was like, "Oh, this is a compatibility test. I just need to know the day you died." An odd compatibility test.
It's like, shouldn't it be the day I was born?
A compatibility test designed for ghosts, apparently.
And of course, Minamoto just being sat in the middle, like, what? Why? What? Can you two do this somewhere else?
I like that that even though he hates ghosts, he's just part of the crew. He's got himself a ghost friend now.
Which, to be fair, we swiftly learn more about, because this episode's called Confession Tree, but they deal with the Confession Tree like very quickly. The last bit of this episode is dealing with Hanako trying to learn more about... Yashiro trying to learn more about Hanako, but also we meet the boy who not Hanako, goddammit, who Yashiro previously had a crush on, which I was very confused initially, because they were like, Minamoto. I was like, what do you mean? The other guy? And I was like, oh, shit, oh, they're brothers. Oh, this makes sense now.
I'd completely forgotten about him, and then was he introduced before? Like, did he speak before he turned up? Because I seem to remember being like, "Oh, where's that? I know that voice. You're Shoto from My Hero Academia. I know who's coming now."
He did speak because it was like the first episode where they were doing all the things to try and win him over.
I know. I mean, in this episode, like, did he like say hi off camera or something? And then she was like, "Oh shit, he's here," and I've been confessing my love.
It wasn't off camera. She was like, I don't necessarily fancy him. I just idolize him, and goes on spewing a bunch of embarrassing shit. And then the camera pans behind her, and he stood right there like, hi. I was like, oh.
To be honest, based on these hairstyles, I should have immediately in my head recognized that they were brothers. They got the same anime hair, which means they must be related.
Yeah. Plus, it's ginger. It's like ginger in Japan. It's all automatically unusual, so they're probably related.
I work on anime rules where entire families of people can have blue hair and whatnot. So I don't usually look at the hair colours in anime. I'm just like, no, everyone has the hair they have.
Fair. No, the general rule for like anime that are slightly more like depicting normal Japan is most people have black hair. If they have blonde hair, they're a foreigner, and if they have ginger hair, what the fuck? People usually just assume they've dyed it. Oh. But no, yes, we get introduced to Minamoto's big brother, and now it gets confusing because I need to actually remember their individual names. So the Minamoto we know, who's been hanging out with us for a few episodes, is called Ko, and I can't remember what his brother's called.
I shall, from this moment onwards, refer to them as small Minamoto and large Minamoto.
I can remember Ko. I'm just going to say Ko's big brother. But no, yes, he basically comes up to the roof, briefly introduces himself to Yashiro, and then takes his brother away to have a talk after giving quite the evil glare to Hanako, and basically has a serious talk with Ko, being like, I told you you had one job, get rid of the 7 wonders, what you doing? Hanging out with the 5th of them. The 7th.
To be fair, their family does have a mission in life to get rid of all ghosts, and his brother has decided to befriend one of them. It is a bit of an odd situation for an exorcist.
It is. And to be fair to Ko, he's like, yeah, but, he's not evil. He's nice.
He helps
He's
people.
helping me deal with the other 7 wonders, one at a time. Obviously, he doesn't say quite all that, but the general gist of it is, but he's nice, and he, helps. And his brother's just kind of like the, I'm disappointed thing. I'll go deal with it myself, and then after some pleading, he's like, alright, you have a few more days to try. So I'm curious to see where that goes. I wasn't actually expecting a human villain.
I mean, is he a villain? I mean, I guess he's kind of a villain. It depends on how much more he interacts. If he does come back and... I can imagine it being like a 1-episode type of thing. But, yeah, no, I guess he could be an overarching villain with repeated attempts to kill our boy Hanako.
I doubt he's going to be like, every other episode now, but I imagine there's going to be some sort of confrontation at some point, which will be more of a challenge, and obviously Ko's attempt, because obviously I'm assuming his big brother is a lot more experienced.
How much older is this big brother?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Our characters are in like middle school, right? And he's in high school.
No, they're all in high school.
Oh, okay.
But no, as I recall, because Ko calls Yashiro senpai, so that either means she's older or she's in the year above. So I assume he's in the lowest year, she's in the middle year, and she also refers to him as senpai. So I assume he's like 3rd year.
So at max 2 years older than his brother. I can't see him being that much more experienced by my logical brain, but this is anime.
I was going to say, this is anime. A lot can happen in 2 years. But no, yeah, so that happens, and then where do we go next? Minamoto's leave, blah, 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 blah. Right, okay, yes. Yashiro is in the library. This is the end of the episode now. Yashiro is in the library trying to do more research on specifically on Hanako's legend, to try to learn more about him that way. And she bumps into the green-haired girl from last episode, at the end of last episode. There's one detail I'm slightly confused about, but I don't know if that's because I missaw things the first time round. When we saw her last episode, she appeared to be floating, and also her legs seemed to be like dead and shriveled. And this episode seems to be like she's just wearing tights, and I'm confused. I can't remember if I'm misremembering things.
Honestly, can't remember. I'm not gonna lie.
No, fair enough. It's just a detail that I was just like, am I going mad? Is that? Okay, never mind. But anyway, she bumps into this green-haired girl, and the green-haired girl's like, oh, hey, you're researching Hanako. Go to the 4 o'clock library. And Yashiro's like, the fuck is that? And then green-haired girl just vanishes. And that is about the end of that episode.
I'm assuming green-haired girl's one of the other wonders of the school.
I'm also assuming so. Assuming...
She seems to know Hanako, and don't they also have like a moment where her, Hanako, and someone else were like saying something? I can't remember.
At one point, we see her, and I think it's this episode, I just didn't note it down, we see her with like an evil, or at least what looks like an evil version of Hanako.
I thought there was some sort of interaction between her and Hanako. But
because I think it's like we cut to a shot of her with the boy that she knows, and then like Hanako appears out of the shadow, but instead of the white patch on his left cheek, he has the black patch on his right cheek, and gives like a little a little evil sneer, and I was just like, oh, okay. We're gonna have an evil Hanako?
I mean, in the next episode, they talk about something about one of the Wonders going rogue. And they had like a human companion, so I'm assuming that's her.
That's also what I'm assuming. Yes, I was about to bring that up. So, going from episode 5 to episode 6... Oh yeah, we didn't actually get an intro in episode 6, which confused the hell out of me. I was sad that, where's the intro? Because the intro, in this show, the intro plays immediately, and then it goes into the episode. This week it was just like, nah.
I've got to say, I didn't miss it. Of all the things I like about the show, the intro is not one of them. I do not like the intro music.
Unless I utterly despise the music, I always pretty much make it a point to watch the intro every week. I never skip over it or anything, so whenever the intro's not there, it confuses the shit out of me. And I don't mind this intro, so...
Oh, it's a strong skip for me.
But no, yes, we open with Ko and Yashiro in the library, waiting for the 4 o'clock library to appear, and Ko states he also wants to learn more about Hanako, so that he could judge whether or not he should be exercised or not, because, again, he's kind of following his brother's orders, but at the same time he's like, I don't want to do it if he's not a prick. And he hasn't been a prick yet.
I like that it's not just a blanket exorcism, like... The ghosts are like... They can judge if the ghost needs exercising or not.
Yeah. It's like, his brother's kind of like the stereotypical exorcist of, just kill them all. And he's just like, no, I want to judge, if they actually deserve it or not. So, no. I mean, Ko's just... We don't get that much of Ko, because obviously most of the focus is on Yashiro and Hanako. But whenever Ko is on screen, it's always nice to have him around. I never get annoyed with him being there.
No, he's a fun dynamic with the group. I like our Scooby gang, so to speak.
But yes, soon after they enter the Wonder, after a few conversations in the library, and Yashiro is led to her own book, which I was immediately like, no, don't do it. Don't do something stupid. You're supposed to be looking for Hanako's. So what did they do? Previous episode when she was told about the 4 o'clock library, because, again, there's only so much notes I can fit on one page. I skip over stuff. When she asks her friend about it, because, like we said, Aoi knows everything about all the Wonders, she's like, there are 3 kinds of books. White, for living people, black, for dead people, and red books. She didn't say what the red books were for, she just said, don't read them. Go on.
Oh, no, you carry on with the explanation, actually. What I will say is more related to how these books work.
No, I was done with the explanation. I was about to just carry on with the plot thing.
I was going to say, they're very eager to read their own futures. I would not read my future to
no.
Nobody could convince me to read my own future. It sounds like a terrible idea.
Especially if it's in a I don't know what it is about a written format, but when you see your future written in the book, I feel like I don't know if it's like Doctor Who's fucking trained me for this or something, but it's just like, I feel like if I read it in a book, then I can't change it. And if I read something I don't like, then I'm fucked. I
was recently reading Doctor Who Wiki where, it's the predestination paradox. If you read it, it can't help but become true at that point. Because you already know what's going to happen.
Which is why as soon as she started going to the future stuff, because to be fair, she has a semi-reasonable intent with it. She's like, I'll look into the future to see if I learn Hanako's name. I was like, okay, not a bad idea, but what if you encounter something that you don't like?
No, I think that's a terrible idea. Go find a Hanako's book or something and don't read your own book. That's a terrible idea. Then that also makes a paradox, because then the book's like, she found out this name a certain way, but then she found out the name, but it's a loop. There's no beginning. Where did she learn? Where did the information of this name come from? She got it from reading her own future. Where did the name come from?
Unfortunately, this is the problem when you include time travel in any sort of media. Doctor Who gets away with it because they literally make a joke out of time travel making no sense. Hence, we have the famous quote, it's wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Doctor Who changes the rules almost on an episodely basis. They're just like, it works this way now. No, it works this way now. No, it works a bit different now.
Whereas in pretty much anything else, if you try to apply logic to it, for the most part, it will not make sense. That's the one thing I'll give Endgame credit for. They would technically, we're not in the same universe when we time travel. Because if we time travel, that automatically makes it a universe. They were actually going with how time travel would work theoretically, if it were possible.
Can't change your own past.
So, nice attention to detail there. Endgame / obviously, I imagine they had like scientific advisors on that because I imagine original comic books will not have kept that in mind.
Ooh, the original comic books, I don't think did the time travel solution to the problem.
I meant time travel in general.
Oh, right, time, yeah.
I imagine they'll just flaunted it completely, like, non-scientifically, as they are allowed to do. 'Tis fiction, after all. Oh.
I imagine they took a more Doctor Who approach to it before.
But no, yeah, so, anyway, Chris and I both agree, reading your own book in the future section, terrible idea. But Yashiro does it anyway, and actually, she like, first comes across a bit that's like, oh, my first date. Oh, it ends in heartbreak. Well, shit, I'll just look for Hanako stuff now.
Because of her fat legs, apparently.
But no, yeah, so she continues to scroll forward in the book, looking for Hanako-related stuff, and then the book starts turning red, and she, even though she sees it turn red, she's like, just gonna keep looking anyway, and I'm like, why?
Right, the book in your hands is turning red.
Bleeding.
It's literally bleeding blood onto your friend below. You're like, oh, well, at least I can still kind of see the words. I'm like, close it, and throw it away. Get rid of that thing.
Turned red, I would have been like, yeet. Nope.
When you're dealing with ghost shit, and something starts bleeding on you, stop it. Get rid of it. No more.
Stop it and leave immediately. I would have left immediately.
Get out of there. Bleeding books are not normal. Even by ghost standards.
So, funnily enough, she keeps reading, because goddammit Yashiro. And she does apparently, because she says, so that's Hanako's name. So she does read it. She just doesn't say the name out loud for the audience, because goddammit show. Naturally, something comes to try and kill her. Because goddammit Yashiro.
She just had to read the blood book, didn't she?
To be fair, I feel like also, Ko should have been more concerned when the blood was, dripping on him. If I was Ko in that situation, I would have been like, stop that. What are you doing? Put it back.
You just kind of like went, I'd have been like, holy shit, are you bleeding? What's happening?
Yeah. Like, the blood literally drips onto his face, and he's just kind of like, what's that? He doesn't bother, asking, like, are you okay? Have you been decapitated or something? That's a lot of blood. Like, this isn't just like a blood drop. The book is literally bleeding profusely on the floor.
Yeah, that's a lot of blood.
But anyway, it seems both of them just had, like, a momentary stroke in logic or something. God damn it. And yeah, something comes along to try to kill them. Ko tries to deal with it, but keeps forgetting that Hanako's fucking put a debuff on his goddamn staff.
If I was him, I'd take that to my big brother and be like, hey, what is this? Can you fix the staff? And can I have your cool sword in the meantime?
Do we actually see a sword in action?
No, but it's a sword, it's cool.
It's a katana, it's automatically cool.
It's just a cooler sword, that's what a katana is.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, so after they get attacked and can't deal with it, Hanako just appears. It's like, hey, need my help. Deals with it. Or at least initially deals with it. And then we meet the manager of the Fifth Wonder, whose name I have written down somewhere, but it's a nightmare to remember. Sugimochi. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Spider Guy. That's what he is to me.
Spider Sensei. We'll call him Spider Sensei.
Spider-Man. He's a ghost.
Does whatever a teacher can. But no, yeah, which... To be fair, this led to a slight, not lore dump, but just a slight thing where I was kind of like, I feel like there should be more issues with this. Because basically, they were like, teacher, why are you here? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm one of the apparitions. And then they go into explaining like about the wonders and stuff a bit more. And he's like, oh yeah, some of the students at the school that you go to class with every day, some of them are probably apparitions too, and I was just like, the fuck?
Wait a sec, maybe her friend is an apparition. She knows everything about ghosts.
Maybe. Just as soon as they said that, I was like, the fuck, that's really creepy. Surely they'd notice these people not aging, or do the apparitions age to like blend in? Like, what? I
mean, some of that fox spirit that was doing the stairs, she started out as a little girl, but now she's a woman. So I assume they age.
Maybe they age up until a point. because that teacher's been teaching there since the moon landing, as we find out later in this episode. So obviously he grew up to adulthood at some point and then just stopped, supposedly. It's a convenient thing about immortality in most fiction. Like, you never grow old and stay alive forever. You just grow to, like, your 20s and be like, yep, I'm good.
I was talking about vampires. Like, if you get bit as all vampires, like, are sexy for the most part in media. What if you're bitten as, like, an 85-year-old man? Are you, like,
that would suck.
Are you eternally an 85-year-old man? That would be horrible.
Like, regain your youth?
That would be horrible. I don't want to be an eternal 85-year-old man.
I feel like at that point you just want to spend like most of your time, if you're going with this version of vampires, like in your bat form, so that you actually could get around easy.
I choose to live my life as an animal now.
It's easier than being an old man. Barely walk up the stairs. I shall fly up instead.
But anyway, that was a detour. Their teachers are mortal, basically.
Their teachers are mortal, and apparently some of their fellow students might be as well, which I just found really cool, but also really creepy. It
raised the question in my head, are all schools like this? Or is this just like a particular hotspot for paranormal activity?
I will say, it's like, I can easily see this being a one-season show, it's done and dusted, we never see it again, and fair enough, because I don't like things to drag out, I like things with endings, but at the same time, I am curious about the world. I'm like, is the whole world like this? Or, like Chris said, is it just this school? I want to know. There's a family of exorcists.
Does every school have this amount of wonders? Are the wonders exclusive to this school?
Could this school be in the same universe as like Blue Exorcist? I could see that.
I mean, I am a big fan of crossovers, so I like the idea of all Exorcist shows, all ghost shows are in the same universe.
Oh, that means we have to include Elegant Yokai Apartment Life.
Yeah, but they don't do anything important over there, so they can just exist in their corner of the universe.
We don't know if they do anything important. We dropped the show. It could have turned into like an Exorcist show in the second half.
Sure, it could have become amazingly cool at some point.
Oh Christ! Oh, that fucking show. No, now that I've said the idea, I wouldn't mind if like the son of Satan just appeared.
Hey, this Exorcist family, they could fit into that world quite well.
Yeah,
with their staffs and whatnot.
But okay, sidetracking aside, holy shit, we're 40 minutes in, we're still on fucking toilet bound.
We should probably hurry it along a bit.
We should probably, yeah. But yeah, okay, so Hanako explains to the bunch, because also Fox Lady appears, Yaku, or something like that, I can't remember her name.
Sounds right.
Fox Spirit, Spider Sensei, and Hanako are all there, and Hanako explains that he's kind of the leader of the Seven Wonders, and it's their job to make sure peace is kept. But one of them, as Chris mentioned previously, has turned traitor, hence why a lot of apparitions have started to become deadly, because they've been spreading rumours to their own goals. They don't know which. So he hatches a plan, which is to destroy all of their... So basically, he wants to temporarily get rid of all the Seven Wonders, so that they all have to, so that he has to assign their power back to them by getting rid of all their Yorishiros, the battery, the important objects that power their abilities.
If I was the Seven Wonders, I'd be like, oh yeah, we have to get rid of all our batteries, but you get to keep your battery. It seems like you want to be the preeminent powerful wonder.
I mean, he seems to be anyway. He keeps threatening everyone with the knife, and they're just like, yeah, okay. I feel like that Spider Sensei should have power over him, but then again, after we learn his backstory, I guess that's why he doesn't want to fight Hanako, really.
I feel like Hanako might have become a ghost before... Oh, actually, was he always a ghost? Was he a ghost in the 60s?
I think he was a ghost in the 60s as well. I'm not sure, though.
I see. Actually, no, yeah, he was reading the books in the 60s.
Yeah, he was reading the books.
So he must have been a ghost in the 60s as well. I was going to say maybe Hanako became a ghost before him, but no, he was still a ghost then.
No, because he read Hanako's future. Sorry. We'll learn this later on, so I'll say it now if I could find the note. His name was Yuki Amane in life. Looks the same as he does now, just his name was different. But yeah, okay, so that's Hanako's plan, and Spider Sensei agrees, but it's like, I'll only let Yashido come along to do it, so Yashido goes along to do it. She takes the seal off his precious item, which his precious item is a moon rock, whether or not it's real or not. We kind of don't really know. I assume it's not.
Almost definitely 100% not real.
Yeah, because it's like, they did this during the time of the moon landing. You have a moon rock.
Well, he said it.
How could a rock from the moon get to the planet?
he said it fell out of the sky, but I'm like, how would... I mean, I guess you're a child, so you just believe it's a moon rock. But,
I mean, I'd be equally happy saying it's a... Like, if I had that thing, I'd be equally happy saying I have a meteor, rather than a moon rock. One's a blatant lie, the other one's still true, but, cool as well.
Yeah, meteors could be more cool. They've come from somewhere else.
Mm.
We know where the moon is. The moon's up there. Where did the meteorite come from? It could be another galaxy. Who knows?
True. She takes the seal off, it detonates, and we get... I can't remember if we start the flashback straight away, or if it's when she wakes up and the teacher explains, but either way, flashback time. So, we cut back to the time of the moon landing. We have Yugi Emane, or Hanako, as we now know him, and Spider Sensei. He was his homeroom teacher.
Sorry. Hanako was a child in the 60s. He's still a child now. They don't age.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them don't age. Some of them do age. Anyway.
So maybe it depends on, when they die. Actually, no, because, like we said, she was a little girl at first, and she was already a spirit. God damn it! Well, ghost rules don't make sense.
I guess he's a human ghost. She is a fox ghost. Maybe fox spirits are different from human ghosts.
Yeah, fox spirits might actually age, because we never had it established that she was actually alive at any point. She was just the literal fox spirit for that shrine. So, whereas everyone else seems to be a human spirit of some sort. You'd think that would make her the most powerful. She's a spirit by default, whereas these guys were human, died, became a spirit. Now that I think about it.
She's a natural-born spirit. How does a spirit get born? Oh, questions.
Damn it, we don't know. We could theorize about this all day, but then this podcast could be like 5 hours long.
Well, that's what I'll say about Toilet-Bound Hanako-Kun. It's got me actually interested in the yokai lore, whereas, not to harp on the other yokai show we watched, Yokai Apartment Life, I couldn't give a shit about any of those ghosts. I didn't care where any of them came from or what the rules were.
Nope, they were just kind of like a random cast of supposedly goofy characters, which you never saw the goofiness, because, again, they left... He was like, I've lived here for 6 months, and now I'm sad I have to leave. Keeping in mind it's in a 1-episode cut, and we're just like, what?
I'm happy it means something to you. To us, I barely know any of these goofy ghosts. And they're not even that goofy.
I feel like we're going to do this every week we talk about Toilet Bound. We're just going to shit on their look at Yokai Apartment Life. It's like the next time we get a shonen show, we're just going to shit all over Black Clover.
It's true. Well, we might be doing that when we get to My Hero Academia's special episode.
But, right, okay. So, yeah. So, that aside, again, I can't remember if it's when she destroys the thing or when she wakes up and the teacher explains a bit more. But, flashback time. So, Yugi Amane, Hanako, we now know him. It's the time of the 60s. Spider Sensei is his homeroom teacher. He seems to be bandaging his wounds. They never actually say what the wounds are from. So, I don't know if it's bullying, self-abuse, family abuse.
I seem to, in my head, think it was bullying. But, I can't remember what they specifically said, so...
For now, we'll go with bullying, because I literally have no idea, so we'll just go with that one. But, yeah, so it could be for any number of reasons. We'll guess bullying for now. And he's, trying to... he's kind of just, trying to be a good teacher. It's just tell me who's doing this to you and such. And Hanako, for some reason... I'm not going to call him Yugi Amane, because I keep forgetting his name. I have to think about it. Hanako's just no, I don't want to tell you about it. And then starts going on about the moon and such... And I'm trying to remember the specifics now. Did he say he wanted to go to the moon?
No, quite the opposite. I think he said he wanted to stay there in the school.
That was at the end of it, but initially he was kind of going on about his original goals.
No,
and stuff.
He was talking about the rock, and then he was like, "This rock reminds me. When I hold this rock, it tells me I can do anything and go anywhere. So you take it because I have no intention of leaving, or something like that."
Yeah, and. Yeah, because basically, earlier in the episode, Spider Sensei was because Yashido asks him, can you change the future you see written in the book? And he's like, no. Apart from once. I've seen it once. And this is the once, because he'd read Hanako's future, and because of the moon rock and his interest in science and stuff, apparently the book had decreed that he'd become a science teacher at school and be working with Spider Sensei. But Hanako, I assume he never. I kind of want to know how the future changed, because it's like, obviously we know what happened. Hanako seemingly, I assume, was either bullied to death or something, or took his own life.
I mean, they say he killed someone, and I guess that would be really dark. Yes, the person I killed was myself, because I was so depressed. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I was assuming he killed his bully or something, but no, that kind of makes sense.
I was going to say,
very dark.
Hanako kind of has to be dead at that age to be that spirit, I would assume, anyway.
It's very dark.
But no, yeah, so... But I kind of want to know if at some point, because he'd read the future, if he told Hanako and that's what allowed him to change it. I want to know what led to him changing the future, because yes, we know what the specific action was, but what caused that specific action? Because obviously that original book didn't have that original action in, so something I assume the teacher had changed it.
I don't know. I mean, it could just be like Hanako had a strong will, or something like that.
Maybe, I don't know. But yes, as Chris said earlier, he gives like his precious item, the moon rock, to the sensei, being like, "I'm never leaving," and we can infer from that what we will. And Yashiro then wakes up in the hospital bed, and again the teacher explains a bit more to her, and then Hanako comes bursting through, being like, "Hey, you're fine," and then Yashiro gives him a hug, and later on Hanako comes to the teacher and is like, "Did you tell her something? She's acting funny." Which I'm kind of curious. Actually, no. Hanako didn't know what Spider Sensei's precious item was, did he?
No, he didn't. He thought it was a porn magazine or something.
Because if he knew what it was, I feel like... Because I assume he remembers his time when he was alive. So I imagine if he saw the rock, he'd be like, that's why she's acting funny. But I guess he'll never see it now anyway.
The rocks are gone. I was just thinking, I was also thinking, if Hanako had grown up to be a teacher and worked with Spider Sensei, he would have noticed Spider Sensei's never aging and his ghostness, and then how would the ghost explain that to the human who knows nothing about ghosts? This world, and there's questions, I have questions.
There are a lot of questions, but not in an infuriatingly annoying way. It's just, this show is fascinating, and I want to know more. But yeah, okay. And that covers episode 6 of Toilet Bound Hanako-Kun. So what did we think of these 2 episodes this week, Krishna?
How has he been on the payroll since the 60s and nobody knows? Nobody's figured this out.
Because he's killed every head teacher that stayed long enough.
He's murdered every one of them. No, I really like these episodes. I like diving more into the mystery of Hanako. There's still mystery to be got there. How he died, how he changed the future, etc. I also like we've got like a structure now for what the rest of the story is going to be. We're going after each of the wonders. There's a wonder who's gone rogue. It's a fun setup. I like the show a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's if ReZero weren't on this list, because again I have a huge bias towards that show, having seen it all before, this would definitely be my top show for this selection of anime. Because goddamn, is this show fun! It's fun, it's funny, it has a lot of heartwarming moments, sometimes a little heart-wrenching, like when you see the main character cry, you're like, no, don't cry, we like you, stop that, it's animated too well.
And it wasn't even like over something that was like you know, like your classic, oh, my mother just died, or main character, it was like she was sad because she thought someone liked her, and I was like, no, that's relatable.
I was going to say, it's just a relatable thing. It's just like, oh, she thought she was going to get a genuine confession for the first time in her life.
And instead, she's saddled with those fat legs. Needs to do some ankle exercises, get rid of those cankles.
But yes, and yeah, the mysteries are good, and the general premise of the show itself is just, again, I keep saying good.
I also can't harp on enough about. I love its style. I love the way it's animated. I love sometimes I'm going to comic strip and then something like. I love the anime manga thick line style that they've got going on. It's really pretty. It's really just really pretty to look at.
Yeah, no, this show is beautifully stylized. The last show that I thought had its own sort of, okay, not unique style, but one that I looked at and just went, oh, this is beautiful, was Little Witch Academia, when we did season 1 of that forever ago. Because I remember in that show it had beautifully animated moments, and especially the lighting. The lighting isn't something you think about in anime a lot, because usually it's kind of just there. It usually gets the job done, but in that show, the lighting was beautiful. They paid attention to it like you would in a fucking video game or a film.
Very pretty anime, that one.
But, yeah, no. Very good stylized anime. All the characters great, and so far the general premise and plot is plodding along, and we haven't had too much of an issue with them. So, all around, good thumbs up from us this week once again. But, okay, so, with 53 minutes spent on that, holy shit. Guess we'll have to try to speed up some of these.
I'm sure the next 2 will go a little quicker.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling I know your opinions already.
Well, the next one is Darwin's Game, right?
It is indeed episodes 4 and 5 of Darwin's Game.
I honestly cannot remember what happened in Darwin's Game. I think there was something to do with a water person. I'm sure we'll get to it in the plot, but that's kind of the impression. That's kind of just the impression the show leaves on me, which is it's good, just a bit forgettable in general.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fair. Again, as I've stated previously, Darwin's Game, I like the premise of the show. The way it's been executed, however, it's not bad. It's just kind of, yeah, well, Chris said it perfectly, forgettable. It's nothing that stands out, so in a few months' time I could easily see myself completely forgetting the show existed. It's
a very far away from being bad. It is an enjoyable time to watch, and I'm entertained when it's on, but I forget almost instantly about it after I've stopped watching it. Like, Toilet Bound sticks in my mind, ReZero sticks in my mind, and even to a much less good degree, No Gun's Life sticks in my mind. But this one's just like, it happens, I enjoy it, and then it's purged from my memory. It goes away.
Like your brain just goes, it's not essential, toss it out.
Basically, yeah.
Alright, well, then I shall aim to plod through this plot quickly, so that's we can refresh your memory on it, and obviously just do the normal thing, interject as we go. But, okay, so, Darwin's Game, Episode 4. We open with a short explanation of Rain's ability, which seemingly allows her to see the position of all matter for, like, I don't know how long into the future, but it seems to be, like, she can see briefly into the future, basically, of everything around her.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, no, I was thinking about because later on we have, like, weird skull mask guys reveal in the next episode of what his power was. And that's what my brain was thinking about just then, but
no.
I'll get to what I want to say about that later, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Which, a very handy ability for someone like her when she prefers, flight over fight, so she's like, no, okay, fair enough, kind of makes sense. Afterwards, we watch the two teams play a bit of cat and mouse, because we have Kaname and Rain running about the hotel, and the possessed team of people chasing after them. And they start systematically searching every floor, but they don't realise that they've actually made their way into one of what they thought were locked rooms, because basically he has all the keys on the first floor, so he's like, well, they can't be in any of the rooms. But as she spawned in one of the rooms, she kind of like left a thing for herself so that she could easily get back in and just make it look like it's not been entered at all. So they were just searching the corridors. But to be fair, I'll give them credit. They don't do too much bullshit on this one, because he's like, well, where are they? And then he's like, no, it's a dangerous assumption to think that they might not be in a room. And they were shooting out the cameras. What was the last camera they shot out? And he actually figures out which room they're in very quickly. I was like, oh, good on your show. He's not an idiot.
I was thinking about that last episode when they were shooting out the cameras, where I was like, you shoot out a camera, you know where they are. Because you just saw them in that camera shoot that camera out. Yeah. Just send your boys to there. That's where they are.
The issue with shooting out the cameras, good idea, but it's only a good idea once you've shot out all the cameras. Until you get rid of that final camera, they know where you are. Because they just go to the camera's location.
Go to the last camera that was shot, that's where they are. They can't really go much further than that.
It's like, it's why, because that's a thought I've had before in like stealth games, like Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's like, Well, actually, I can't remember if it's in Ghost Recon Wildlands, but that stealth shooter where you're infiltrating places and you can shoot out the cameras and stuff. And I'm like, people notice that there's going to be a security guard sat at a bunch of monitors. You're like, why are all these cameras going out? Send someone here, please.
I was playing Splinter Cell Blacklist because I was watching James Bond films. I wanted to do something spy, and I was like shooting out cameras. I was like, surely that would like raise the alarm. Oh, we're on this like military base. Everything's on lockdown, but all our cameras keep going out. No need to alert anyone to that. It's nothing. Send someone.
Well, if we ever make video games, Chris, and we ever make a stealth shooter, we know to keep this in mind. We will reverse the trope on people.
I kind of feel that would make like a good gameplay mechanic, though. Like, you want to shoot out your instinct is get rid of the cameras so you have an easier time to sneak around, but if you do it, it'll alert everyone that something's happening.
Yeah, guards will be sent to your position, because naturally, if a camera goes out, the security guards will be like, the fuck? Send someone there. See what's going on. And then they'll go over there and they'll see the camera's been shot out and be like, we have an intruder.
It would make cameras a bit more of a interesting obstacle in a lot of cases.
You'd have to actually, try to just avoid them, or maybe like EMP them or something. I don't know.
Or shoot them out as a trap. Anyway, this is not video games. This is not this show.
We get sidetracked a lot here, folks. I apologize. Oh, we have too many ideas, Chris. We should actually note these down for future reference. But yeah, okay. So they figure out which room that they're in, sends all of his goons to go there, but when they storm the room, nobody's there, and then a huge explosion goes off, and he sees a security camera on Rain, who's used explosives to try and break through the barricade. It doesn't work, and she basically has a contest of stamina now, with the team chasing after her. Meanwhile, we have no sign of where Kaname is, and she's using her fancy ability to dodge all the incoming fire.
I remembered when I enjoyed this little fight scene where she's like she's dodging around stuff, and then she just like whips out a sniper rifle and quickscopes someone. I'm like, that's cool.
Hey, it makes perfect sense, because technically, as a sniper, I guess she could she ever miss? Really? Because she knows where everything is at all times.
I assume it tires her out, so she's like got lots of targets. Because he gets tired making guns, so I'm assuming she gets tired from seeing the future. But she's got the most useful ability yet.
Especially with the weapon choice she has. I'm like, this is skipping ahead a bit, but in the next episode when she's like, okay, fine, I'll cover you from the rooftop. I can cover you for about a mile with this sniper rifle on top of the hotel. It's like, she should theoretically not miss at all, because she could see exactly where the bullet's going to go. She could see exactly where the person's going to be, so she could just be like, she basically just has predictive shooting. It's like a cheat in a video game where you just automatically snap to someone's head.
Yeah, I don't see how they can lose with her on their side. I'm sure they'll get round that there.
I'm sure someone will have an ability that can nullify it or some bullshit.
Also,
something she can't predict.
When you go to save your friend, I've forgotten her name, red dress chain lady.
Shuka.
Take the person who can see the future with you. Instead of taking the guy who can sense truths or lies, take the future seer.
Yeah, no, that's actually a fair point as well. Just give her a submachine gun or something, so that she could carry it around. Because sniper rifle's close range, not the best idea.
I guess she was making do with it in this fight.
True. I suppose it depends what kind of sniper rifle it is. If it's bolt action, it's less advantageous. If it's got a magazine, should be fine. Anyway. So yeah, no sign of Kaname. She has contested stamina, and then, as Chris said, with her ability, she manages in this fight to be basically one step ahead of them at all times and is dodging their fire and quick scopes them. And then another explosion goes off whilst he's like, where the fuck is the boy? Surely he didn't just run off and left this girl on her own. And yeah, there's another explosion, and Kaname has climbed down the outside of the building to the first floor. Fucking hell, that man must be strong.
Also, nerves, he certainly doesn't have a fear of heights.
Nope.
He's a normal high school student who's been thrown into this. He's like, I'll just rappel down the outside of a building, use grenades to blow up a window, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, you were ready for this. You've been preparing your entire life for this.
Keeping in mind, the barricade that was blocking them, I think, was on the 25th floor. So, minimum, he had to go down 25 floors or on the outside of a building on I think it was a fire hydrant hose. Using
only his body strength. Jesus Christ.
technically, it's a lot easier, obviously, to go down than it is up, because he just has to have enough strength to hold on, but also have the loose enough grip so that he just kind of slides down without burning his hands. So I guess it's a doable feat, but fucking hell, yeah, that man has balls of steel. Because I'm terrified of heights. I would look out that window and go, nope.
I'm not scared of heights so much, but like when I'm at the edge of a height, I get like sweaty. I'm like, I don't want to be near this height anymore. So I guess I'm wary of them. So like I wouldn't jump out of a window. I'd be like, hey, small predicting the future girl, you do that part of the plan.
My plan would be breach the floor with explosives rather than trying to go through the barricade, because you can blow through a floor. Just hop each floor one at a time. Although obviously that would tire him out eventually, but we don't quite know how much he can make first, because we get told it's at the end of his limit, and it's like, fair enough, but we never actually see how much he made previously.
Yeah. Also, why do they have to split up for this plan to work? Why can't they both disable all the guys, and then both go downstairs?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to risk the team following him down the thing? I don't know.
I mean, like,
that's the only thing I could think of.
By herself, she, like, kneecaps them all, so, like, they could have, like, just done that, and then blown up the plants on the stairs, and gone downstairs.
True, but at the same time, maybe the idea was to try and catch him off guard, because he wasn't actually expecting Kaname to be on the first floor, and he was too busy watching her. That's another
I guess so.
Possible explanation, but then again, I guess that doesn't technically work, because after the explosion, the element of surprise is gone, and he literally comes out and has a nice conversation with him before they fight. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a cool plan and concept. It's just I don't understand why it had to be done simultaneously.
There are other ways it could have been done, but like we keep saying every week when we review when we talk about the show, it's definitely not perfect in its planning, but I'll give it credit. I don't recall any instances this week of Kaname gaining knowledge and then everyone else gaining it after him. So that was nice for a change.
As we talk about it, it's all coming back to me. I do have a problem with something that happens a little later in this episode. Not a problem, it's just I'm not my favourite style of doing a thing.
Alright, fair enough. Well, I'm sure we'll get to it soon, because we're nearing the end of the episode anyway. So, yeah, after he makes it to the first floor, the florist has a brief talk with him before the battle begins, basically saying, he's like, hey, why are you playing? I need the money. And then they fight. And we see the florist's ability isn't just like controlling plants / people, because he's able to, I don't know if he can like make different types of plants or if all the plants are just that type of plant anyway, but it's just like he's made a specific type of plant armor, which is a very strong plant, strong enough to deflect bullets. And I'm like, okay, I can kind of buy this, maybe, sure, anime logic, we'll just go with it. Even this stuff like a plant type is like, have you heard of the lotus plant, which I'm assuming is a real thing? It's like, it can break through concrete and stuff, so it's strong. That doesn't mean it's stronger than bullets, though. Whatever.
I mean, it can break through concrete, sure, but that's pressure as it grows slowly over time. It doesn't like, it's not like it's like a diamond drill or something like that. It doesn't like, just like, it's not like it comes into contact with a wall, it's like, wow, it's stronger than the wall. No, it's like, it's the pressure over time, it burrows through the concrete. But, sure, whatever. It's anime logic, I guess.
It's like, cool concept. Not quite how it works, but oh well. So yeah, he makes this armor, and Kaname goes to shoot him. Doesn't work, because like I said, the bullets just bounce off the armor. And his gun gets destroyed, because he's replicated the machine gun that, not the machine gun, the assault rifle, the dude that he met before in the previous episode, that he refused to shoot had. But he then recreates another one, and this is why we learn his ability isn't endless, because he's like, ow, my head is thumping, I am knackered, I can barely stand. And they fight a bit more. He escapes by using a flashbang, which, again, fair enough. Decent tactic there. Doesn't last long, though, because the florist immediately catches up, punches him in the gut, sends him flying into... apparently, hotels have, like, mini chapels in them.
Like he hits the wall and like the plaster or the concrete or whether like crunches around him like that would do my back in. Imagine hitting a wall so hard the plaster like breaks. Like damn.
I think he's no longer walking. His spine is definitely gone and his organs might possibly be mush.
That would hurt.
But yeah, okay. Now, there's not much left of this episode. So, Chris, I'm assuming, unless you've misremembered in this next episode, is the bit you don't like because he gets cornered and is basically about to die, and then it's like the introspective on how his power works.
Yeah, it's just like, it kind of boils down to like, it's not even so much how his power works. Cool, he has the power to upgrade guns. It was more like, I preferred like a more clever solution to the problem. Instead, it was just like, I made bullets like 10% stronger, which means my 10% stronger bullets beat your armor, and then he just shoots him until his armor breaks. I'm like, that's like punch harder, you know? Like, what's like in Man of Steel, Superman movie from 2013. It's part of the movie where they're like,
That's 7 years ago now. Jesus, sorry.
There's a part of the movie where Superman's like, I've got to take out this world engine, but it takes away my powers. And then he gets there and he just kind of stumbles for a second and is like, you know what? I'll punch harder. And then he punches harder and the problem's solved. Kind of reminds me of that. I'm like, it just feels a bit like, you couldn't, like, because when he was talking to like the weird blacksmith in his head, it was like, oh, if the bullets didn't matter to him, why would he make a shield? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, cool, there's a clever solution you can have. Instead, he was like, I've got stronger bullets. I'm like, okay. I guess that's your solution then.
No, fair enough. Especially with how this character's been developed as well. Like, we can see he can come up with clever solutions to situations. Like, I think it was last episode. No, the episode before. When he was fighting the boxer guy in the street, and after he'd been told about the value of a phone, he swiped his opponent's phone and being like, so, want to stop this now? Like, the main character's been established as clever, so they definitely could have, with a bit more thought, I'm sure they could have given him an out for this situation that wasn't either, I don't want to use the word lazy, but I'll say it, like, unimaginative, maybe, I don't know.
Unimaginative would be the word. It's not lazy per se, because I guess this is just how his power works. He can make stronger stuff. But, I quite like the conversation he was having with weird blacksmith man in his mind, where he was like, the blacksmith like, this is a good gun, and also you have all the information you already need to beat this guy, and he was like, so the bullets do hurt him, he wouldn't need the shield. And I was like, oh cool, we've got some things we can do, and he was like, I just made stronger bullets. It's just what I did.
Basically, the result of this introspective is, by the way, I'm using that word. I don't know if I'm actually using it correctly, but I'm just going to keep using it for now.
I mean, it is introspective. He's talking to himself, so...
Okay. I'm terrible with English, and I forget how words work. But no, yeah, the result of this is him learning that his ability isn't just recreating what he sees, he can actually modify what he sees, which, is a fine enough revelation, but I feel like, again, they still could have done more with it, but it's good to know new facets of his power. Also, we get a brief explanation next episode. I just want to talk about his power for a bit. Next episode, when they're like on their way to help Shuka, and they're discussing their two abilities, and he's like, we do kind of get a rundown. He's like, okay, so my ability isn't limited. When I touch something, I know instantly whether or not I can make it or not. So presumably, he has to touch it to first be able to make it. I like establishing limits to his power. So it's like, right, okay, I have to touch it to make it, and when I touch it, I know whether or not I can make it straight away.
Well, I don't really know what I'm pretty new to anime, so is this like a shonen anime where like there's like theoretically no cap to his power, like he's just going to get better forever, like a Dragon Ball Z or even My Hero Academia, or is this going to be a sort of thing where we get an established set of rules for his powers, and it's about how he like uses it cleverly to get around problems? Because I prefer Solution 2. Not that I mind Solution 1. I love My Hero Academia and the like, but
No, I mean, honestly, I have no clue as of yet, but I'd have to watch the show more to determine that. Because, we just haven't seen enough of this show yet to determine if his power is going to be limitless or not. They seem to be establishing limits, so I imagine they're going to go along the route of number 2, which I would also prefer in this instance, because I don't know. It's like, obviously some shows can do it right, because like you said there, we both love My Hero. Some shows can do it right, but I feel like this is not the show to be doing the unlimited power thing.
It comes down to like what sort of fights I like to watch in media and whatnot. The reason I love Batman in like DC and whatnot is because he had limited power, and it's about how he thinks his way around like a stronger opponent. And I just like an underdog fight, I guess.
I prefer clever thinking to just, my power is greater than you thought, and I shall hit harder.
Or I've just unlocked a greater amount of power.
I mean, hell, that's probably one of the reasons we like My Hero so much, because despite Midoriya's ability being, I could punch really hard, and under the right circumstances, I could punch really even harder. The reason we like Midori so much is because not even half his life, all of his life, up until like this year, he hasn't had a quirk. He's just had to think tactically, and he does it all the time because it's drilled into him.
What I also like about My Hero Academia is that we've seen All Might. All Might is that's where we're going to get to one day. And All Might isn't all powerful. He can be stopped, you know? So, like, we already have, like, an end point, and so we know... and also, like, Midori gets, like, power increases in increments, so it's like he's learning to do stuff. Whereas, like, in Dragon Ball Z, it's just like they'll do, like, a whole arc, and at the end he's like, well, I've gone past my limits again, and now I'm 1,000% stronger. And then that's just how they win every fight. In my opinion, I watch the show. It's just how I perceive the show, you know?
It is what we know of the show. But it's one of those shows, at least in my instance, I refused to watch because, A, when I was growing up, it was overhyped as hell, because everyone was like, oh, Dragon Ball, and by the time I was even remotely interested, I was like, it's not going to live up to the hype. Hype was already killed for me back then. But 2, it just never really interested me, and there's way too much to watch now, because there's like, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super.
And each one of them was like 1,000 episodes. It's an impossible thing to get into.
I refuse. Sanguine. I'm not saying it's a bad show, inherently. I'm just saying I would not enjoy it, and I refuse to try and catch up. Oh.
But it's a very certain style of show, where he's just like, always getting stronger. There's no limit he can't exceed. Whereas, like, I like knowing limits, because limits make fun for me.
Yes, that's the thing. When you set limits for powers, it generally leads to more creative thinking on the writer's part, and you have to give the characters creative solutions. Whereas if you just give someone unlimited power, it's just like, they power up again. It's like, oh, okay. It's a bit dull.
Every fight, you know, they can just become more powerful to stop the fight.
But okay, we got a bit sidetracked again. What? Actually, to be fair, we reached the end of episode 4, because, like we said, he boosts the power of his weapon so that it can penetrate the florist's armor, and then finally Rain returns and is like, don't try anything, because now both Kaname and the florist are just like on the floor like, we're fucking out of energy. And then they propose an ultimatum to the florist, because basically they now have the logical thinking of, right, we've defeated you, so if you could kindly stop trying to kill us and work with us, because the 8th clan is here in this event, and they're definitely coming here to get all the rings at some point, because there's a lot of rings in this hotel, so we either work together or die exhausted after fighting each other.
What I want to know is, why is she so confident that the 8th clan are going to come to the hotel like next? She's like, we've got to be prepared like right now. And like, there's other places with like more rings in them. Like, why would the 8th clan come for this hotel very specifically next? But I mean, they do, as we see next episode. They're like planning on doing that, but I don't know why they thought that would be where they'd come next.
I don't know. I can't remember if did she actually say they'd be next? Because if so, fair enough. I just don't remember her saying that. I just assumed she was like, we're going to be a target at some point, so we need to be prepared. But if you said next, then yeah, it's a bit like, how do you know that?
I can't remember what she said specifically, but I mean, I guess either way, the 8th clan's coming, and I guess soon. I don't know. I felt like they had like a sense of urgency about them. They were like, we need to get ready now. But why?
I think it's just a case of it's better to be prepared sooner rather than later, because obviously they don't want to be caught off guard.
True.
It's like us in our Sins game. We want to prepare for Joe's inevitable invasion, and we'd rather prepare for it before he invades. But yeah, okay, so episode 5, we open with Shuka avoiding / killing snipers on the way to Kaname and the hotel. And I don't know how I feel about this decision where she decides to go underground. It's like she goes underground to avoid snipers, which as a sentence on its own, it's like fair enough. But she's literally killed every single one she comes across. Yeah,
it's not like there were really much of a problem for her. And she's like later on we learn she's like 400 meters away from the hotel. So like, why just scoot on over there? Like, why go underground?
it would have made much more sense if she was forced underground by the snipers. Like, if they'd been proficient shots and maybe, like, injured her or something, so she's like, fuck. And she goes underground to avoid them. But no, she casually, has killed, like, 6 of them, I think she says. And she's like, none of them have rings. So she just decides to take a detour in the underground mall. It's like, Shuka.
Yeah, it would have been cool if she got into a fight that she couldn't handle. So she was like, I'm retreating, I've got to go into there. But instead she's like, I've killed all of these people, all these no-ring noobs are trying to get me. And then she's like, well, might as well go underground. Like, no, just keep going. They're not causing you issue.
Again, this is one of the problems of the show. It's like, again, cool concept, decent characters, but they don't always make the smartest choices. And it's annoying.
It's even stuff like the writers could have, like, avoided by just giving them slightly different ways, like slightly different circumstances. Have that sniper that she just killed almost get her, and then she's like, shit, I can't keep doing this. Instead, they didn't almost get her. She just kills them, and she's like, oh well, I'm kind of annoyed by this.
No, again as well. I want to know if this is I won't know for ages because I generally don't buy manga, but I do want to know if this is a manga problem or the anime's problem. So if someone's read it, please do tell. If the characters have written this, I'm not going to say dumb, but this illogical in the original source material as well. Because obviously, if that's the case, I mean, even if that's the case, anime is an adaptation, so they could change it if they so wanted. But
I don't really know what the animation studios method like. Are they willing to make those sort of changes very often, or are they more willing to like just stick to what's written?
I'm not 100% certain. All I know is that generally they'll follow the source material, but in some cases, like we witnessed with Blue Exorcist Season 1, if the source material runs out, sometimes they'll carry on and just try to do their own thing, and it usually won't go very well. It's usually generally very poorly received.
I don't like Game of Thrones.
Or they'll just like stop and you won't get another season for years, if ever, depending on when the next series of manga's completed. But with regards to actively changing adaptations that they have source material for, I don't know is the honest answer. I only have one example of this in my head, and I haven't watched the show in forever, so I can't remember how different it is. Because I remember Dead Man Wonderland. It's a manga that I've read all the way through. The only manga that I've bought the series of and read all the way through, and it has an anime. But I recall the anime not finishing, and I think there were changes in it. So it's, from memory, it's like the West. They will change stuff depending on who's working on it.
For a second, my brain was like, what, like the Wild West? It's like, there's no rules. But no, I get it. I understood.
No. As far as I know, they are just like us. Some people will change it, some people will not. Generally, if you stick to the source material, though, people are happier.
I was just wondering if there was like a general trend, because in the West and like Harry Potter and whatnot, they'll change stuff all the time to make it more movie friendly, which I think is generally a good idea, because source material and movies, books, comic books, and whatever, are not like one-to-one comparisons.
Actually, some things just have to be changed. Yeah, either because of the time the source material came out, or there are just some things that you read in the source material and you're like, you can't have that in film, or that won't be represented very well in film. This is why I'm very much a believer of never read something before you see it, because inevitably you're probably going to be disappointed with what you see, because they'll miss things out that you thought that were cool.
On very rare occasion, you might have something better.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's highly likely. Like, the only instance I have of this is, like I said, first 4 Harry Potter films I saw, and I'd never read the books until after I'd seen the films. But then 5, 6, 7, I'd read the books, and then I went to see the films, and I was like, I don't like these as much now. They've missed out a lot. And there's a lot of cool shit they missed as well, because that's the unfortunate thing. Sometimes they don't cut stuff because it doesn't make sense. Sometimes they just cut it for time, and it's just like, but this stuff's really cool. Anyway,
there's a whole podcast to be mined out of what's different in Harry Potter and whether it's for the better or not. But
oh god, I'd have to reread the books again.
Not this podcast.
No, not this podcast. But we will get through this. Damn it, we have like 50 minutes left. Let's do this.
I think it says a little about Darwin's game that we keep getting so sidetracked about things that aren't Darwin's game. That's where I'm talking about it.
With Toilet Bound, we got distracted and sidetracked by things within Toilet Bound. With this, we're just getting distracted by everything else. But okay, where was I in my notes? Trying to see.
She'd just gone underground, I do believe.
That was literally the first note of episode 5. Jesus Christ. We then see Kaname, Rain, and the Florist provide the ultimatum to the man of the assault rifle from two episodes ago. He initially refuses, but then changes his mind for when he hears about the 8th clan, and specifically their leader being involved. So I'm assuming there's some sort of history between them there, I'm sure, which we'll hopefully learn later. We don't learn this episode, though. We then see Wang, the leader of the 8th clan, who's collected many rings, and as Chris mentioned earlier before, he's explaining the plan to his underlings, being like, right, we're going to hit the hotel at night time. But we do get more details about how the game works as well. Don't know how I feel about it, but at least it's nice to have the details. He's like, we're going to wait till night time when more of our clan arrives in the city, because they're not participating in the event, and people who are playing in the event can't leave the area, but people who aren't playing the event can still enter. So...
I'm wondering, did he contact... Is this a plan he had before he got into this event, or did he, contact them? Can they contact people outside the event?
I don't know, is the honest answer. Obviously, they can't contact people IRL. We know that. I say IRL, but, non-players. They can't contact non-players or emergency services or anything. But I don't know if it's been established whether or not they can contact people who aren't participating in the event, so for now I'm just going to assume they can, because I don't remember anything that contradicts it. I don't know, I just found it an interesting rule set that, players participating can't leave, but they can bring out outside help. It's like,
So not a very, very fair rule set, if you ask me, but...
But then again, this is a game made by people who've just casually given away superpowers and have people killing each other on a regular, so I'm like, yeah, I can picture them not being fair.
And one thing, I was thinking through all this, I was like, this is not just like a day event, this is going overnight and into another day. They've shut down the city of Shibuya! Someone's going to notice that the entire city of Shibuya is just deserted, apart from a war zone that's happening.
Shh, stop pointing out the holes, Chris.
The Japanese economy is going to take a little bit of a hit here. Nobody can go to work.
At least in the Shibuya district. The rest of Tokyo's fine. The rest of Tokyo's still working. They're just confused as shit as to what's going on.
The rest of Tokyo's like, why is there just constant machine gun fire out of Shibuya?
When we're in a country that doesn't have a military apart from the defense force, are we being invaded?
Questions about how these people are doing it.
Oh, God. But okay, yes, that happens. And then our group began discussing their plan of action and how they'll split the shares. Rain explains how the event's rules are a bit odd because of the wording, and also how all the gems, which, makes sense that she might figure this out. The gems basically aren't... The rings they have to collect have different gems, and the gems have different point values. But the gems don't have corresponding order of value as they would in real life. So it's like if someone put diamond as the least valuable, and she's like, the fuck? Why?
Cool deduction. I'm kind of on the side of Mask guy who was like, maybe I'd have been the guy just saying, well, maybe it's random. Maybe they didn't care. That's where I'd be at. But it's a cool deduction.
That's fair. I'd probably be in the same boat as well, because again, it's like she said, maybe it's because boys don't care about gems. It's like, I know nothing about gems, so I'd be like, randomized. This is a thing within games. But there's also the other clue of, well, not clue, but other thing of just if the game is not cleared, and they never actually said how you clear the game. They just said how you survive the game. Weird. But then again, to be fair, they don't make too much of a fuss about it, because again, Mask Guy's like, well, we should probably just worry about surviving at the moment. We'll figure this out later. And everyone's like, yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough, Mask Guy.
So, it's not too unreasonable. It's just a brief bit of deduction being like, hey, this is odd. And then they're like, we'll get back to that if it comes up. Which it does. But our group begin discussing plan of action, blah, 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 blah. Afterwards, Kaname receives a help text from Shuka. And we cut to her encountering the blue-haired person from the opening.
What I'll say about Bluehead person is that he's a very annoying voice in the dub. Very annoying.
I would not know, thankfully. This is where the dub first sub stuff comes in. No, they sound like a normal kid in the sub.
Sounds like a 35-year-old man trying to be a normal kid in the
God.
dub, but well, it sounds like someone trying to sound like a child. It's a weird voice. I try and do it, but it's not clear enough in my memory. But it wasn't a good voice.
It's fine, you could spare us. No, in the sub, he sounds a bit cocky, but other than that, he just sounds like a regular kid. But no, yeah, we see Shuko encounter this person who seems to be able to manipulate water and ice, and she gets trapped in the underground, and the underground is flooded. And Kaname just reads this text and is like, I really hope this is a joke. So they go to investigate, because, like Chris said earlier, she's apparently 400 meters away. Gun guy goes with him, whose name I did note down somewhere, but I can't remember. Ryuji, that's it. I remember it because of Persona.
True.
Ryuji goes with him, and this is where, plant guy, the florist, stays behind to secure the hotel anyway, and Rain's like, I'll cover you with a sniper rifle, which, kind of makes sense, but also send the person who can see the future with you.
She seems very useful in this sort of scenario.
But no, yeah, okay, so Ryuji and Kaname go. This is where we have the discussion of powers. Was there something you wanted to comment on with regards to his? Because Ryuji's power is basically a lie detector. You can determine if anyone's lying at any point.
Everybody's very down on their powers. Like, his friend before was like, all I can see is the, auras of people. And he's like, oh, I've got this shit power. All I know is that when people are lying. I'm like, that's useful. Like, that has wide-ranging applications outside of this game. You could go use that power in your day-to-day life. You don't even need to. It doesn't even need to be related to Darwin's game. Sure, it's not as flashy as the person who can freeze stuff with their mind, but
it's a very useful power, just not in a combat sense. Like, I would love having that power just when I'm not playing Darwin's game.
He's like, it sucks. I don't want this power. I'm like, dude, you've got the most versatile power. You can just use that at any time.
Any social situation or any work situation, any situation you could determine if someone's lying. I could see many uses for that.
Everyone's very down about their powers. I'm like, well, the people who think they have shit powers, the people who don't have combat powers are very down on their powers. I'm like, it's useful.
Mm-hmm. They're obviously not very imaginative people, because we instantly think of ways that these powers could be awesome. Like the guy who's like, oh, my power's shit. I can only see people's life essence, and I'm like, that means you could see whenever someone's coming. That's very useful. You can
that would even have a combat application. You can see through walls and all sorts.
You could be a master of stealth and evasion because you know whenever someone's getting near you. You fucking idiots.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about his power. Really, it was like he was like, oh, it's useless. I wish I had your power. I could make so much money. I'm like, not really, because when you fall asleep, the guns disappear or whatever. But
yeah.
Your power is also quite useful.
But yeah, okay. So after the explanation of their powers, they also come across the blue-haired person again, or at least their twin.
Another blue-haired water controlling person.
This time a girl. And she tries to warn them off, being like, "Hey, there's something dangerous." This bit kind of bugged me because she's like, "Hey, there's something dangerous at the subway. Don't go that way." And they're like, "Oh, sorry, girl, we don't have time to talk." I'd be like, she's a player of Death Game. Listen to her.
To be here, she has to be playing the game.
They acknowledged this a few sentences ago, being like, well, she's here, so she's not a civilian, so she could have a power that we don't know about. So it's like, and you have the guy with the lie detector being like, yeah, she's telling the truth. It's like, don't question her more. What's the danger? I want to know before I go there. You have valuable information right at your fingertips, actively trying to warn you.
Yeah. Heed her warnings.
But anyway, yes, they ignore her. They go to her location. They see the underground is flooded. So Kaname, don't know what his plan was. Kaname decides to go in swimming after her, and I'm like, there's no air in there.
I was thinking,
hold your breath.
I was thinking that as well. I was like, that's really cold water. You got no air. Like, are you intending to come back here to breathe? Like, how far can you go?
Like, after the credits, we see Shuka's in there, because obviously it's not completely flooded, because if you go in far enough, then there's space to breathe. But from the way they shot it there, it's just like, there's nowhere to breathe, so I hope you can hold your breath for quite some time. Also, if the ice wall's still there, you're fucked.
Also, from like a science perspective, if you jump like full body into like
freezing water,
but it can be as warm as like 20-something degrees. Your body goes into shock, and then all the heat bleeds out of your body, and you die. Like your body just gives up. So like that, not
you
a good
can't
plan.
be in there very long. Especially like obviously it's wise of him to take his like clothes off so that not slowing him down, but in terms of conserving heat, he's fucked.
Yeah, don't jump into ice water. You'll die.
But anyway, that happens. Ryuji instantly turns his gun on the girl, being like, "You lied to me once about something. I need you to explain that." And she freezes his gun and fucks off, and he runs after her.
When did she lie? Like, what did she lie about?
We don't know.
Did he was she lying about like it being dangerous down there? Like, why didn't he tell Kaname? What's his name again?
Yeah. No,
why didn't they? Is there another anime with a character called Kaname in it?
Not that we're currently watching. I don't think.
I'll have to look into that, because I said that and I was like, that's from a different anime. But anyway, maybe you should have warned him about the lies before he jumped into the freezing cold water.
No, probably. But okay, so yeah, that happens, and then like I said, after credits, we see Shuka kind of just like giving up because, funny enough, she's succumbing to the cold. Makes perfect sense. Although, from the way where she was, because she was like hanging onto a sign to like stay above the water, there was plenty of space above that sign. I would have just pulled myself up.
I'd sit on the sign.
Yeah, just sit on the sign like a swing and wait. You might eventually run out of oxygen, because obviously the oxygen's sealed off due to the water, but, it's better than freezing to death.
She's also very confident that Kaname is coming for her. She has supreme confidence in his abilities.
Also, unless phones are commonly waterproof nowadays, her phone's definitely dead, right?
Probably.
She's completely submerged underwater. I've just thought about this. Her phone is fucked. I don't even know how she got the help text out, because initially when she was caught, she was definitely covered in water.
I think some phones are like waterproof to a certain depth, but that thing's been soaking. So I don't know how long that would last.
I remember 1 or 2 phones ago, so not too long ago, I accidentally dipped my phone in the bath because I briefly dropped it, and I caught it, but the bottom of it had gone into the water, and it just completely fucked up all the electronics on that half. I couldn't charge it, couldn't plug in earphones, so that phone just died.
Mine's got cracks all over it, so if I dropped it in any water, the whole thing would die. Well, actually, I had a tablet a couple of weeks ago, well, a couple of months ago now, December, and I accidentally spilled a bottle of water in my bag, and that died. So, yeah, they're not waterproof.
If her phone survives, I'll be very surprised. But okay, yeah, that is the end of Darwin's Game for this week. So, overall impressions, Chris, apart from forgettable.
It's good it's entertaining to watch. I enjoy the fights well enough. It's just, it's hard to say generic, but I feel like its art style's kind of generic. And
I'll agree with that, definitely. Its animation isn't the best as well, as I keep saying each week, because there are just certain bits that bug me.
It's just kind of like one of 1,000. Like it's just kind of forgettable, I guess is the word for it.
No, yeah, I completely agree. Like, the art style's not the greatest. The animation, I'll keep bitching about because there are things about it that bug me, but I won't bore people with the details because I could talk about animation for ages. It's got an interesting premise with a lot of potential. The characters are decent. It's just not doing it enough. Like, there are some illogical parts where it's just like, why? Why have you done this? Why?
You see, if I was like way more entertained with the show, I wouldn't be sat there thinking about how quickly people die in water that's cold, you know? I'd be like, oh look, he's swimming to go save his friend. I'd be like, but instead I'm like, like if you just jump into like 20-degree water, you're gonna die. He's probably gonna be dead. Like it should entertain me more, I guess. So I'm not thinking about all the little bits.
It is unfortunate. Darwin's Game is still, unless our opinions have slightly lowered, it's still at that middle ground of it's okay. I'm not even going to say with a slight positive anymore, though, because it's just kind of like, it's okay. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just meh for me.
It's okay with some good moments. I like it better than the other okay with some bad moments show that we watch. So there's that.
Well, speaking of which, shall we get on with that? Because we're already an hour 36 in. But to be
Sure.
fair, No Gun's life doesn't take long usually, because not a lot happens, as per usual. It's very slow-paced, so not a lot happens in an episode. Okay, so, yes, that is the end of Darwin's Game, episodes 4 and 5. Now moving on to No Gun's life, episodes 5 and 6. In episode 5, we open with Juzo in his office. I'm not going to get through this fast if I keep fucking up. Explaining, basically, since the last episode, the company hasn't made any moves against him. However, he still can't get his cigarettes, and Mary is there doing maintenance on Tetsuro. After the OP, Mary tells Tetsuo about a government authority called the EMS, an agency that allows overextended, weaponized extended people like Juzo to live normally in society as long as they follow the rules. They get to hold on to their license, which permits them to be out and about. And pretty much the rule is, don't use your weaponry.
Easy enough to remember.
Easy enough to remember. Broken last episode.
Shoot people.
Don't shoot a giant cannon that can part the clouds. But yeah, no, and if you break those rules, they'll come revoke your license. She kind of like tries to spook Tetsuro, being like, they'll scrap you for parts, and not Tetsuro, Juzo tells her off. And then learning that his license may be revoked, because obviously immediately Tetsuro's like, shit, I forced him to fire that last episode. He's like, I'm just gonna leave now. And Juzo's like, no, you stay there. You still need to pay me for the last 2 jobs I've done for you now.
I kind of wish they'd drop this pretense where he's like, you're my client. I'm like, no. Quite clearly, you know the boy can't pay. I don't know why the boy thinks he can pay. What does the boy think he can pay in? But,
obviously, he's keeping him on, I would suppose, principle, but at the same time, it's just like, this boy's been nothing but a nuisance so far.
Well, what I assume is that Juzo's a good guy, and he was trying to protect this boy, and he wants this boy to be his partner or whatever, but, like, I just wish he'd drop the, you need to pay me, stick. I'm like, just don't.
Oh, that was immediately a cliche in this that I was just like, Chris isn't going to like this. Like, for me, I'm mostly indifferent on the noir tropes, but I am slightly on the negative side, whereas Chris doesn't plain like them. It's when after they've, it's after this scene, when they have, like, the hot pot with crab and everything, and Juzo leaves, and he's like, I don't want to be near people, and they explain, he's like, he doesn't like being near people because he's worried that he'll hurt them all, and I was just like, oh boy.
Like,
Moody cop come through.
Sometimes I just like, I like noir when I like things that make fun of noir, and I like some noir tropes, but it also has to be paired with characters in a show I like, I guess. And this show just ain't doing it.
Again, the only likable character so far really has been Mary. Otherwise, Tetsuro's annoying, and Juzo's just kind of bland noir cop, genericus, but with a gun for a face.
Also, I've got to. Do you like this show's art style? Because there's something about this like art style. It just does not vibe with me.
I actually do quite like it. I don't think it's anything too spectacular, but it's decently animated, and generally, I'm happy to look at each frame that's on screen. Whereas, like we said with Darwin's Game's just kind of like very generic. This one at least tries to do something different. Yeah,
this one is something different. It's just I just don't like the different. I guess it's the summary of the story.
No, I mean that's fair. Not every style is for everyone. Now, I'm okay with this art style. Evidently, you're not. So yeah,
everything just looks a bit grubby and whatnot. They also have like the shots of like the ladies where like, oh look, it's the anime lady's butt, but I just don't. Everything looks grubby, and everything looks a bit like, yeah. So I don't like looking at this anime lady's butt. Not that I'm particularly enjoying anime lady butts most of the time, but this one particularly, I'm just like, it feels weird because I feel like everything in the show's just kind of ugly.
I don't know. No, fair enough. Right, okay, so after Juzo has his Mooney Cop moment and goes off to get his gun cleaned, basically, at like the local barber's. I think it's a barber shop. And on the way he encounters like the barber's daughter who's being molested by 2 policemen, so he scares them off because, he's got a gun for her head. Have we met this character previously? I don't think we have.
He's in the intro. The weird barbershop man, I think. At least I think I've seen him in the intro. Maybe I saw him in the poster. I don't know.
I think him and his daughter are in the intro. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah. And she seems to be like, overly attached to Juzo and very nervous around him, and he does his like usual shocked face.
Apparently guns really turn her on or something. She's very into him.
But no, yeah, he goes to get his gun cleaned at I'm going to call it a barbershop because I legit think it's a barbershop. He just happens to do this for Juzo as well on the side.
Maybe it's a barbershop for extended. They don't have any hair. Well, some of them have hair, but you got to cater for the non-haired people.
It depends how extended is. God damn it, that almost sounded like a pun. No, I'm just gonna stop. But no, yeah. So he goes to get his gun cleaned. The EMS, however, do arrive and restrain everyone there and like try to take Juzo away. To be fair, I kind of liked how Juzo was just sat there like, yeah, I'm not moving. And he just carries on talking to the old man like, I need you to do this, and this, please. It did get a slight chuckle out of me when they were trying to forcefully move him. Like, he's not budging.
Yeah, at first I was like, why is he doing this? Like, these are the police. Surely just pissing them off more. But then the relationship between him and the police is more expanded on.
Yeah, there is a reason for this. He's not just being stupid. But no, yeah. So they do that, then Mary and Tetsuro arrive with the remnants of the hot pot being like, well, we'll share it with the barber and his daughter, and then they get taken away as well, because the EMS is still there. And then, as Chris mentions, the relationship between Juzo and the police, not the police chief, the EMS chief, her name's Olivier, is established. It's like they have an agreement. If he breaks the rules, he owes her a favour and does a job for her. So that leads to the plot of this / next episode. Because she establishes that her organisation, the tools needed to secure Extended are produced by the company, who they don't get along with, but to secure the tools that they need from the company, they are forced to deliver Extended on a regular basis to them. The transport that had some Extended in it previously was broken out of. They've captured 5 of them, 2 remaining, one of them being the original, like, rogue Extended, the first one to ever, like, kill people at random. And the next episode is basically Juzo figuring out how to capture this guy. Or at least figuring out where he is.
For the most part, I don't mind him figuring out how to bring him in. But, like, I did have the thought of, like, you see that she brings him in, she's like, there's no obvious connections between any of them apart from, like, in the next episode.
The obvious connection.
They learn, like, oh, yeah, they're all in the same military unit together. I'm like, that is the most easy surface level connection that the police could have made to, like, figure out why these people were dying.
That, and she's like, there's no obvious connection between these people, apart from, the writing on the chests.
It's like, you guys are bad at your job.
Connections work. The military one, there is a brief excuse. Basically, she says earlier in the episode, it's like, we don't have many records from the war, so I can believe that they just lost track of that military unit. I don't know how, because I don't know how far advanced future this is.
They were all very famous military units there. They were all like, hey, look, that's the first Extended. We're literally making a statue of one of them in the park nearby. Like, you don't know who his friends were? Like, you went to his house, you drew out the chalk outline of his body and everything. Literally, right next to the chalk outline was a picture of him and his war buddies. Who just happened to be the ones who were dead in your morgue.
Dear me. No, but yeah, so... Well, briefly finishing up episode 5, their convoy gets attacked by one of the 2 remaining non-extended prisoners who, for some reason, I don't know if he was specifically targeting the convoy or just happened to be really unlucky and came across them. But, yeah, he attacks the convoy, knocks the transport with, like, all of Juzo's friends in it over the bridge. There's a brief encounter, and then we meet an agent called Cronin, who seems to be completely non-cybernetic, which I suppose is a rarity in this world, but he seems to be able to fight off enhanced people just fine.
Using his acupuncture needles. Don't know how that works, but he throws acupuncture needles into them and finishes them off.
And let's see. The final prison. That pretty much wraps up the episode, because like we said, then we find out the final guy to capture after they subdue this guy is like, hey, he was the first one to ever go rogue. And then we get the explanation being like, hey, we lost files during the war, so we don't have all the details regarding him and his military activities. And then he gets shown the bodies with the obvious connection between the three, even though she's like, there's no connection between the three. It's like, yeah, okay. That's not what those words mean. They literally have the same writing across all their chests. That's a connection. Unless you wrote that on there.
These police people aren't very good at their jobs.
And she seems to go on about how, because we see a picture of like her and her father who's in the military. So I'm assuming her backstory, because the way she was talking about it, she was like, he was never brought in for a trial of justice. He was just like shipped off to be forgotten in this prison for the extended. And she's like, make sure you bring him back alive so he can be put on trial. And I'm like, wait, isn't him being shipped off to prison and forgotten about what would happen to him anyway?
Yes.
Shouldn't
but
you
I guess his guilt was never established. But I guess she just wants closure for her dead dad or something.
I don't see how you're going to get closure from this. Like, he was already captured. He was already in prison. So unless you have the death penalty, nothing's going to change.
I don't understand what the trial's going to get for you, other than sending him back to prison, which is where he would get sent to anyway.
Yeah, again, unless the capital punishment is a thing, which, to be fair, in this world, could believe it, but obviously it hasn't been established, so we don't know yet. Shows him the bodies. After that, after being assured his friends are safe, he heads to the last victim's house, like higher up in the EMS. And as Chris said, he finds like the chalk outline, sees a portrait of the guy with his family, and behind that, because the picture's slightly knocked over, he finds a picture of him and his old wall, but he's behind that picture. And then we have a brief battle between Juzo, I forgot his name, Juzo and Cronin, because Cronin appears to come and investigate as well, and he's like, hey, fuck off.
I didn't quite understand why Acupuncture Man wanted to fight Juzo, to be honest.
Neither do I, especially considering immediately afterwards Juzo's like, well, I figured out what he's going to be next, so you can drive me there, and he does it. So they seem to get on just fine when they're on the job.
I didn't really understand why they were fighting, other than we want to pad this episode out with a bit of action.
They kind of establish it with his character, because I think last episode, / maybe a bit this episode, he basically has a thing against all extended, I think. He doesn't like cyborgs much. But apart from that, again, I can't remember. This show is slowly falling into, swiftly falling into forgettable territory. It's more memorable. It's just slightly more memorable than Darwin's game. Probably because we have a slight dislike of it.
It's easier to remember why you don't like a thing opposed to why you like a thing.
So yeah, sorry if I'm forgetting a key detail there, because I'm sure if a fan ever watched this, they'd be like, you're missing key details. And it's like, yeah, but it's not our fault. We do take notes as we go. That's just dull. we don't like it, okay? Okay, so yeah. Juzo figures out where he's going, because, like I said, we see the picture of him in his old unit, and he's like, oh, there's only 2 people left in this photo alive. One of them's him, one of them's got to be the next victim. So they go off to the next victim's house, he's not there, and then they figure out that he's off to do an unveiling of a statue in honor of the War Memorial Park that's going to be opening soon, so they go there.
A statue of himself.
Yeah. And then once they arrive...
On a note about this golden-faced man, in the dub, his voice is Big All Might's voice, so that made me chuckle just a little bit.
Cool.
But he was Big All Might voice if he had like a robot twang to it,
like a robot filter applied.
Yes.
I suppose that kind of makes sense to get All Might to do that, especially considering like the move he pulls off as well is like his punchy move.
It's very recognizable. He's also in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood as like the punchy guy.
Armstrong.
Bald. Armstrong, that's it. Yeah. So it's a recognizable voice. So I'm pretty certain this was Big All Might.
Right. Okay. So yeah, they arrive. Juzo has a brief encounter. a little girl next to him gets like knocked over, and he tries to comfort her, and then that little girl goes off and meets with the. Was I the only one who sensed that was a trap immediately?
Yes. Well, no, you weren't the only one. It felt like a trap. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, this is a weird detail to put in there. This is a trap, isn't it? And then when
the girl also had weird dialogue, which was like, "I'm not scared of you because you're familiar." I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like, eh?
What? I'm confused.
You're too young, surely, to know the gunheads. And then also when the shit's going down later on, and the girl's just kind of stood there. Sorry, it's not even that. It's when the girl goes up to the guy to give him the flowers, and they like focus on it for like way too long, and I'm sat there like, I don't know if you're doing this on purpose, show. Like, surely you want to try and hide the fact that it's this girl, not make it obvious.
I mean, also when they like flee what they think is the bad guy, he picks the girl up and takes her with him. I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, so you're clearly taking her into danger if you're the target.
You're the target of an assassination. Why are you bringing her with you?
Imagine if like the girl's parents had been there. Obviously, we know that the girl's parents weren't there because the girl ends up being the guy that we're hunting. Spoilers for like 2 minutes from now. But, you know, imagine if the girl's parents had been there. They'd be like, excuse me, where are you going with our daughter?
Come back. It was just an odd set of circumstances where the show was like, it's her. I'm like, okay. Also, it was the ease with which Juzo takes down the other guy. I'm like, yeah, no, obviously. This is it's a bit of a front.
Yeah, definitely a decoy or something. But no, yeah, so all that happens, basically a decoy version of the guy we're hunting lunges out at him. Juzo immediately catches him, and our target fucks off with the little girl for some reason. And then it's quickly revealed, after a brief backstab from Cronin, and Juzo accidentally headbutting the guy, that the guy isn't the actual person we were hunting. And then we cut to the target with the little girl, and the little girl swiftly kills like the target's advisors and stuff. And then we have the reveal of, oh, it's him.
To be fair, it's creepy. It's
creepy. Yeah. I can't deny that. This guy has the ability to shapeshift into seemingly any size and person. So, you know, it was kind of creepy. Like the way he was speaking and stuff as well. Yeah. Cool. Again, cool ability. They do get some brownie points on occasion. They have cool stuff. Like, we have the cool spider lady. Now we have this guy who's kind of cool. Kind of creepy.
I like their weird robot designs.
So we don't just hate the show for people watching this. It does have its good points, okay? We're just not overall enthused with the show.
Another thing I quite liked about the design of the gold-faced guy, who I forgot, gun arm or something like that. Anyway, yeah. He's got the same like gun attachments to his arms as Juzo does. So they're like, and Juzo's even like, oh, he is the guy who came before me. As like
he's like a prototype man for Juzo.
So I quite like that connection between the two of them. Still think Goldface Man's creepy as all hell, and I don't know why everybody loves him. Like, oh look, it's Goldface Man with his creepy gold face.
Like, is that his actual face? Is that a mask? Because his mouth never moves, so I'm assuming it's a mask. Otherwise, how does he eat? Because we've established that the extended still eat. So, I have questions.
I have questions about this gun-armed man.
But yeah, anyway, that's the end of those 2 episodes, which we've kind of stormed through, because again, each week whenever we do No Guns Live, it's very slow paced, so not a lot happens in 25 minutes, so it's easy to storm through the plot and our thoughts, really. That, and we also need to crack on, because there's going to be a longer episode this week. I imagine we'll probably reach 2.5 hours with how long we'll talk about ReZero next as well.
I mean, we could try and shorten it down or something, but...
we could, but there's not much I can do apart from trying to read my thoughts. Read the plot out faster, and if you don't say your thoughts as we go, it's going to be very dull. So,
I mean, we could just skip the plot and just go straight to our thoughts, I guess. But I mean, it's, either way, I'm not bothered. I'm easy to go for 2.5 hours.
I'm fine with it being a tiny bit longer. But no, okay. So we've said it multiple times over already. But thoughts?
I mean, like the show's fine. I find it kind of ugly to look at, which doesn't really help. I don't really like Juzo's design. I don't like his grey skin, and the gun is a gun. I mean, I find the show just like on the whole just a bit ugly to look at. It's fine. It's well animated, and when they fight, it's all right. So it's not like a super turn off. I just find the plot's kind of dull. Like, the world's cool enough, but I just find the show just a bit dull for the most part.
Yeah, again, it's one of those. It's got cool aspects to it, which, if exploited properly, this could be a really interesting show. And again, if you're a fan of noir and all the noir tropes and such, you'll probably like this show because it fulfills them. Not quite to a T, but adequately. But for us, we want a bit more from it than just the noir tropes. And obviously, it's anime, so there is a bit more than just... But the bit more that we have is like 50-50, because like Chris doesn't like the animation. I find it okay, but then we have like annoying characters like Tetsuro, and then we don't really like Juzo that much because we're not a fan of that trope. It's very slow-paced, and the mysteries haven't been the greatest so far. Like, this episode, it was okay, because they were actually, like, slowly trying to figure things out, but even then, he figured it out in, like, 2 minutes, like, oh, okay.
Like, so, if you're going to go with a bit of a mystery plot, make the mystery a bit more intricate, I guess, or at least a little harder to get to the bottom of.
Instead of just being like, oh, well, there's the picture of the evidence I need. Let's go.
I'd rather they'd have done more investigating than having a pointless fight with Acupuncture Man.
But, oh well. So, yeah, no, this... As we go, I'm starting to get more and more negative on the show. At first, I thought of it about the same level as Darwin's game, but now I'm just like, I'm starting to slowly be like, this is the one show I don't necessarily look forward to watching, whereas everything else I'm like, I'm looking forward to this week.
True.
But okay. That was episodes 5 and 6 of No Guns Life. Apologies if we rushed through that bit, but again, there's a lot to cover in it anyway. At least from not from our point of view. Okay, and that leads us to the final show of this week, which is ReZero, episode 3. Obviously, another two-parter. Because 2 episodes combined into 1. So... We'll do this properly. We'll just see if we can get through it. I'm happy to edit a slightly longer version. So, Subaru wakes in a room alone, and after... what the hell did I write there? Jesus, my writing went awful. After examining his wounds, goes to explore the house, but finds himself in a looping hallway. Tries to first story, comes across a little girl who we find out isn't human, whose name is Beatrice.
I find it funny that he keeps calling her Lolly.
Yeah.
Because she is. Because she is.
Yeah,
I guess that's the extent of the joke, but I found it funny.
Yeah, it's just funny having him applying all these terms that from our world to them, and they're all like, what the fuck does that mean? And it just constantly annoys her. No, yeah. She swiftly gets sick of him, and like drains him of all of it. She says she drains him of all his mana to determine if he's hostile or not, and then he falls unconscious again and wakes back up in his room. And this time we get introduced to 2 of my favourite characters.
I thought he died at first when she sucked his mana out of him. I was like, oh, well, I guess we got the new
short
respawn
life.
point.
No. He fell asleep. He was just knocked out. But no. Then we get introduced to 2 of my favorite characters, Rem and Ram.
They are fun.
The constantly criticizing pair of Subaru. Trying to remember what happens initially.
I also like how they said, oh, she's good at these things, and he's like, are you good at the other things? She's like, no. I'm just a worse version of her.
Yeah, they say it, and he's like, what's even the point of you? But no, yeah, no. A good pair, a fun pair. If anyone else has already seen the show like all the way through, like I have, you know what they're like. But let's see. Yeah, meets Ren and Ran. Then Amelia follows up, coming up to check on him after a bit of criticism / teasing from Rem and Ram, because they basically call him creepy and like lying to Amelia, being like, he defiled us in his mind.
I mean, he was defiling them in his mind.
Yeah, to be fair, he was even like, hey, in my mind, it's fair game, as long as I don't do it. I like Subaru so much. I like all these characters. Okay. I keep losing track of my notes. Amelia comes to check on him. He finally gets up and does some exercises with her in the garden. Weird.
I didn't understand why they were doing exercises, to be honest, but...
Neither do I. But then again, I'm not an exercise person. Maybe it's the thing people do. I don't know.
I don't know. What was she even doing out there? Why Like,
What?
did he just turn up and was like, "Hey, let's stretch"?
I think the chain of events is she went to check on him, he got dressed, and then they both went into the garden, and then he just decided to do exercises. Because, yes, even she was like, "What are you doing?" And kind of gets dragged into it. And then Puck also comes out being like, "Hey, thanks for the other day." And Subaru's like, "You're welcome. Let me stroke you whenever I want."
I like his explanation for his like weird requests. And that he's just like, I just want what I want, man.
I can't think of what I want in that moment. Yeah. He's like, I know I could think about it sensibly. There is also a nice little thing later on. It is this episode, so I'll address it now, where he's just like, I know I could ask for, like, I saved your life, I could ask for, like, a fortune and just live comfortably, but, having a secure income and learning new things is just more fun, basically, and more sensible. And also, the explanation of, I just want what I want in the moment.
I did like when she was like, you could have asked to be like a permanent guest. He was like, shit!
Why didn't I do that?
Why did I do that? I mean, then he had a chance to do that again and decided again he wanted to be a butler. But
I mean, it makes sense. I'd prefer to be doing work. I go stir crazy at home already. I'm unemployed and I'm going crazy. I'm sure he knows what that's like, and he doesn't have school to go to now as well. Then they are summoned by the Lord of the Mansion, Roswell, because it's called the Roswell Mansion, for breakfast. Subaru initially mistakes him as a clown. Thankfully, Roswell is not a vengeful man. He just seems to go along with it.
So we think.
So we think. Yes, we don't actually know yet, but we haven't got there yet. We'll get there. And yeah, during breakfast, we learn that the kingdom they are in, we basically get like a little bit of exposition. Not too out of place. It's not like a Lord Dub. It's just like, hey, here's a bit about our world. So the kingdom that he's been transported to currently doesn't have a king. There's a council ruling in its place, and they're determining who's going to be the next king. Because obviously it doesn't seem to be like a normal monarchy where their child does it. Because they said the last king has the child, but they were just like, no, we're deciding on a new king, and Amelia happens to be one of the candidates.
It's what's referred to as a theocracy. It's where not theocracy. No, I think it's
that's religious rule.
No, it's not theocracy. What is it?
Elective monarchy?
Fuck it. I knew the name of it.
Elective monarchy?
No, it has a very... Well, that is what it is. It has a very specific name. It's one of the government types you can have in Civ 6, and I've forgotten about it now.
Oligarchy?
Shit. Oligarchy, that's the one. It's an oligarchy. It's basically where the nobles all get together every time a king dies and elects a new king from their ranks. It's what Game of Thrones ended on. In a rather weird turn.
In a very weird way.
But yeah, there you go. It's an oligarchy. It is a type. It's an established type of government.
Yeah. So, and as I said, we learn that Amelia is one of the candidates for this, and I do like how he's having breakfast with them. He's like, "So if you'd lost that, you would have been screwed, right?" And he's like, "Yep." And then they're talking about like, "Oh yeah," and people send spies and stuff about all the time, and he's just like, "Oh, okay, so this country is kind of in a bit of turmoil. This new wait a minute, I'm totally a suspect for being a spy." He's not completely. He's self-aware. He knows his position for the most part.
He's smart enough.
One of the candidates for next ruler, and that's what the signia represents. Yeah. As his reward, Subaru asks, like we mentioned already, to become a butler at the mansion. Which fair enough decision. He explains later. It's like, I could be rich, but just live off that. But I like you guys. I like hanging out. I like learning new things. And having a steady source of income and a free place to live kind of makes sense.
Especially when you have nothing else in this world.
Yeah, it's like, I'm broke.
You can ask for a fortune, but you don't know how the money works. You don't know how the banking system works. You don't know how to purchase a property. You don't. There's there's a lot of.
He
steps
can't read all rights
rich.
as established.
Lots of steps to being rich that you just can't engage in.
So yeah, he asked to work in the mansion. Amelia leaves him in the hands of Rem and Ram. Rem measures him up for a suit, because all the suits they have don't measure him. Ram shows him around the mansion. They encounter Beatrice again at one point during this tour, and they kind of establish a thing with Subaru here, where he's just like, so Beatrice has the ability to make the library, which she guards, she's a librarian, like the entrance to it move about the place, and Subaru just seems to be able to predict it.
It would be really annoying if you wanted to take a book out the library. You're just like, where's the library today? Where did it go?
I mean, what did they call it? The Forbidden Library? So there is a reason she does it, but still, it's just, yeah, that would be annoying. It'd be annoying unless you're Subaru, who annoys the librarian.
She has a great ability at predicting where she'd put it.
I do like the way they word it as well, just because I'm a D&D player, and he's like, yep, I'm a Game Master's worst nightmare, because I'm just good at guessing shit. I'm like, fuck you. I know what that's like. But yes, after they establish that, we get a little montage of him learning to work around the mansion, where they establish that he's good at sewing. I can't remember why he was sewing the suit that Rem gave him, but anyway, they establish he's good at sewing, but he's useless with a knife, and I assume he's okay at cleaning. They never actually make a comment on that. There's a huge montage of him working around the mansion.
He must get a lot of blood in the soups and whatnot they're making.
Oh, God.
Like, nobody seems to be like making an effort to stop that blood going anywhere. They just carry on.
I do like as well how Ram's like being smug during all this as well. As we established, as Chris mentioned earlier, it's like Ram's basically just the inferior version of Rem. It's like she's good at some stuff, but Rem's better at it all. And then she just she even looked at the camera at one point, being like smug. When she sees Subaru fucking up, I'm like, stop it, show. Stop breaking the fourth wall on occasion.
I do like deadpan sarcasm as well. And they do a lot of deadpan sarcasm.
Yes. The humour speaks to us. And then we cut to... Basically, the montage apparently takes place over 5 days. Because 5 days later, we see Roswell, the head of the mansion, questioning Ram about Subaru, being like, so, is he good at working here? Could he potentially be a spy? I'm assuming he means, is he someone spying on them, rather than could he be used as a spy?
At first, I thought they were going to try and employ him as a spy, like they were trying to do some like sneaky shit to get to undermine Amelia or something. But then, yeah, no, it makes sense that they were setting him for his ability to spy for someone else.
Yeah, because especially since he's backing Amelia for being the queen. So, no, yeah, they're trying to assess whether or not he's a spy, which they never actually say it, but I assume that they come to the conclusion that he is, because that night, Subaru mentions a village nearby when he's like stargazing with Amelia, and he's like, "Hey, why don't we go there tomorrow?" So they make a deal of it, they make a promise of it, and Subaru's super excited, like, "Woohoo! I got a date!" And then he wakes up back in the bed that he initially woke up in. Keeping in mind, he's been when he starts working for the mansion, he has like his own quarters, and like his hands are all cut up and bruised and stuff from all of his hard work. And then he wakes up, his hands are perfectly fine. He's back in his other quarters, which, because I don't remember the show all the way through, when I watched that, I was like, I got a little bit of a chill. I found it quite creepy.
I didn't realize what was happening at first. I was like, oh, why is he all upset? And I was like, oh, right, I understand. This is a bigger room. Like, this is the other room.
I noticed straight away, and I got a slight chill because I was just. It's the fact that this time he didn't have an obvious death. He went to sleep, he woke up, and he was back where he was, and he was like, "The fuck."
If I was him, I'd be asking questions like, "Am I going to have a heart attack in 5 days? Is that what's happening here?" Is this inevitable?
No.
Also, I was with him when he was super bummed out. I was like, oh, I feel you, man. I'd also be bummed out.
I was with him as well. I was just about to say I had a similar reaction to him. I'd be super bummed out. I was like, you put in 5 days of hard work. You just organised a date. Everything was going well, and then you just died in your sleep. That would suck so hard. And I'd be doing. To be fair, I don't know. Well, obviously, I can't exactly put myself in this situation, but what he does, I find to be reasonable. Basically, the plot of the next episode is he does the 5 days again. They go slightly differently, but he purposely stays awake, being like, right, okay, day number 5. What the fuck's going to happen? Who killed me? Because when you've established that he knows about his ability, it's a sensible thing to do.
Yeah. Like, he knows something's going to go wrong that night. Although, when things played out slightly differently, if I was him, I was like, oh shit, maybe I won't find out, because everything's just slightly different. But it still works out the same for him.
Yeah. So, okay, that was slightly skipping ahead. So, end of this part, because again, 2 episodes commanders. One is it's him running off upset and being like, well, this fucking sucks, and he runs off to the library, and the librarian's like, oh, you again. So he discusses with the librarian, and he establishes where he is in the timeline, because he's like, okay, so you know me. That was the first time I met Ren and Ram, right? Okay. This seems to be... So that's when I woke up. Right, okay, thanks. And he, like... I like how he's just like, yeah, no, your deadpan comments and constant derision, it somehow calmed me down. I was like, okay, weird, but sure.
If I was him, I'd tell someone about my power to come back to life and be like, hey, something's happening here. Can we, like, have some sort of code word that I can say to you that is going to, like, make you trust me next time, so I can just skip this part and be like, hey, something's happening, someone's going to kill me.
I'm surprised he hasn't tried that yet. Being like, actually,
because they have magic in this world. Maybe they have some other more supernatural things.
Yeah, so like this might have happened to someone before, or I don't know. I don't know how I'd approaching the topic of hey, I can respawn.
I mean, he's super weird. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I feel like no one would believe me because obviously every time you die, you reset. So it's like, if I die, no one's gonna believe me again, and I have to explain it all again.
I'd get them to tell in one of my loops. I get them to tell me like a load of like personal information, and then on the next one, I'd just be like blah 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 blah. But then again, they might kill you as a spy at that point. Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows? There might be a way around it. But at any rate, I try and get someone to believe me.
But yeah, no. Okay, so after being super bummed out, he goes and being comforted by Beatrice, he goes find Amelia, who's searching for him. Because to be fair, naturally, Rem and Ram are like, oh shit. Amelia, he fucked off. We don't know where. So that happens. What did he do? Goes after him, and she's okay. What? Okay, anyway. He has a talk with Amelia, and then he goes about starting to make the same decisions as last time, as we discussed. Like, Puck comes out and thanks him again for his help, and he's like, okay, and he, like I said, he asked for all the same stuff. He asked to stroke Puck whenever he wants, asked to work at the mansion again. Things do go slightly differently this time. Not sure why. Maybe it's because, obviously, his initial action was different, with running off immediately.
Maybe.
That's the only thing I can think of for why things are different. That's all. It's just like not guaranteed to be the same every time. But then after like the first 3-4 episodes, everything was going the same. So I don't know. I don't know how this works just yet.
Well, in the first episode, was it the first episode, maybe the second episode, when he like Amelia would turn up at a place earlier than she would have like turned up if he had like interfered. So maybe him running off set off like a chain reaction of events that just made everything just slightly different.
Yeah, because he goes to like get his suit measured, and Rem's like, "I'm not doing that now." And his first day is basically he takes a bath. Roswell also comes and joins him. I hate how they do that in anime sometimes. He's like stood there completely butt naked, and Subaru's head's hiding his privates, and I'm just like, "Please don't wiggle, don't wiggle." I know you're not going to show it, but still, I'm slightly uncomfortable. And how are Japanese people comfortable with this? It's a very British thing.
I don't know. What, are Japanese people comfortable with just people being naked around them?
I don't know. Japanese baths are a thing, and I imagine they sit in them naked. So
if you ever go to a gym changing room, there's usually a naked man in there.
Is there?
So yeah, it's very uncomfortable for me. Just go in. There's dudes in the buff. I'm like hiding in the corner. I'm like, nobody will see my naked form. People are just walking around naked. Maybe it's just my gym. maybe it's just there.
Maybe, I don't know. I only got to go to the gym once before coronavirus shut it down, so. But yeah, okay. Things go slightly differently this time. He has a bath the first day with Roswell, followed by Ram coming to visit him that night and teaching him to read and write. From then, events start to happen similarly to last time. He gets a suit, but he doesn't need to sew it this time. He helps around the mansion, but he uses his previous knowledge to be like, yeah, I know how to kind of use a knife this time. He's still not good with a knife, but he's like, okay, I'm learning.
We'll get there over the next couple of deaths, I imagine.
But yeah, he uses knowledge from past life to help be more efficient. During all this, Rem keeps staring at Subaru, and Ram eventually explains, like, yeah, no, your hair, it's bugging her. So she agrees to do his hair later on, and then also later on, when he's, like, cleaning the bath, Rem comes and visits him, is like, hey, sorry, I was rude to you before, and you saved Amelia's life.
Was it that his hair was bugging her, or was it that her sister said that and she just kind of agreed to, like, patch it over?
I don't know, is the honest answer to that.
I'm
just assuming the sister's explanation is correct, but go on.
I got the impression, because, like, before he was talking about how she should wear different clothes, I think she got a little bit of a crush on him there, but, like, didn't want to admit it.
Maybe. Plus, they do have a nice moment later when they're walking back from the village. It's a weird nice moment, but it's a nice moment when they're, like, discussing demons, and she's like, hey, do you like demons? And he's like, well, they seem more fun than gods. And then she has, like, a huge smile on her face, like, okay.
I think she was developing a bit of a crush on our boy here. And personally, I'll ship it, why not?
Are we a fan of Rem?
Yes. I like their weird humour. I like that she's the worst one.
Wait, which one are you on about? Rem's the one with blue hair.
Yes. Is she not the worst one? I can't remember which is the worst one.
The worst one's Ram.
I like whichever one he was having nice moments with.
The one he had a nice... Well, to be fair, he technically had a nice moment with both of them. He had a nice moment with Rem on the way back from the village when discussing demons. Whereas he has a few nice moments with Ram, who's teaching him to read and write. But I do like Ram's motivation being like, if you get good at this job, I do have to do less work, which means my sister has to do less work. So, it's a win-win for me. It's just like, oh, okay. I just like that she's just motivated to be lazy.
I like both these characters. They're fun.
But yeah, no, so Rem apologizes for being rude, which, to be fair, I don't really remember her saying anything rude, but and Subaru makes
his hair.
And Subaru makes her make a promise, being like, "Hey, you cut my hair after I make a promise with Amelia. I haven't made it yet, but I will at some point." And yeah, they go shopping in a local village. This time we see because last time he mentioned to Amelia about some kids he was playing with, an adorable dog. This time we see him playing with the kids and the dog, which again bites him. I would have learned from last time and not been bitten.
Yeah. I'd spend most of my time avoiding pain that I went through last time. I'm like, I ain't going near this dog.
It's like, I'm fine playing with the kids again, because, I'm fine with kids, but, I'm just not gonna let the dog bite me this time. So, yeah, that happens. They walk back from the village. Like I said, Subaru and Rem have their nice moment there. That night, Amelia comes to help teach him to read and write. And then they make their promise for the date again. And this time, Subaru stays awake, being like, right, okay, something killed me last time. I'm going to see what killed me this time. And I'm assuming he was poisoned. At least, I assume that's what it looks like.
You have to imagine he's poisoned. I guess it could be some sort of, magic curse or something.
Yeah, because basically he starts to get very cold and very tired, and then he starts vomiting. So he's like, shit. And, to be fair, sensibly, he leaves his room and starts to try to call out, but I assume, his airways clogging or something, because he doesn't seem to be able to shout very loudly. And then we hear chains. That's what I'm going to describe them as. And then Subaru just gets sent flying. We don't see what does it. He just gets sent flying. His arm's been lopped off. And then his head gets smashed in. And he wakes up again.
And his eyeball rolls away.
Oh, God. They love their go on this show. And they animate it a bit too well.
Well, it's very well juxtaposed. The show's very colourful and nice. And not kid-friendly, but, it's just like a nice, colourful world. But then when he dies, it's horrific.
It's always horrific. He can never have a nice death.
So it's kind of... That it just makes it all the more shocking.
The most peaceful death he's had is just going to sleep and then waking up, not realizing he died. Every other time, it's been absolutely horrific. But no, yeah, and that's the end of that episode. That's where that episode wraps up, and that wraps up the anime talk show for this week. So, thoughts on these two episodes of ReZero before we wrap up?
They were good. I like our new characters. I like the mystery of his death, and I enjoy... The characters continue to be a delight.
fair enough. I'm also enjoying. I say learning. In my case, I also like learning about the world as well, which we've partially learned about this time round of establishing the oligarchy and the chain of succession, and where Amelia kind of fits in and all on all this, and we get a justification for like being like returning this insignia after these past like 4 episodes. It's just nice to get the context, and I like learning about worlds that, you know, if you provide me an anime with interesting characters and such, then I'll probably want to learn about the world. And this is just like normal Earth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Strong positive feelings about these episodes.
Alright, okay, we've taken up more than enough of your time, ladies and gentlemen. We're currently at the 2 hour 20-ish minute mark. So, to be fair, only 10 minutes longer than normal. I hope you've certainly enjoyed listening to us ramble on about the shows, / almost anything but some of the shows. Particularly Darwin's Game. We went off topic a lot there.
Kind of says something about Darwin's Game, then.
Sorry, Darwin's Game. We kind of like you. You're just not the greatest. But no, yes, let us know what you thought of these shows below, unless you haven't actually seen the shows yet, in which case, well, thank you for sitting through 2 hours of spoilers. We should be back next week at the normal time, Friday, 6 o'clock. I hope you finished all your chores, your drive, whatever you were doing in the meantime, and if you sat there for the whole 2 hours listening to us, you're a madman, but thank you all the same.
You must be really bored in quarantine, if that's the case, but thank you.
We've hopefully given you an insight into these shows, and you hopefully go check them out if you haven't already. Or maybe recheck them out with some slightly different perspectives. And if you want to change our perspective on certain shows, you can obviously, in the comments below, tell us why we're completely wrong about Logan's Life or Darwin's Game. Feel free to explain things to us. We're happy to be explained too. Just know that we may counteract your points. We're not necessarily going to agree, but we appreciate the feedback all the same. Just don't be a prick and call us cunts and stuff like that. Criticism, it's fine. Bring us it. We will respond, more than likely. Unless you're just plain unreasonable.
Unless you're mean and nasty.
But it's the internet.
Actually, to be honest, I might be more likely to respond to you. But I'll be more sarcastic about it.
We just have to put sarcasm in brackets so that they know.
So they understand.
It's hard to get across British sarcasm across the internet. But okay, yes. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for sticking around. We shall see you all next week for episode 4 of the Anime Talk Show. Adios.
Sayonara, Tomodachi?
Hey, you got it.
There we go. I remembered.
Matadaishu, minasan, for me. And kato.